Hey, Relly, how's it going?
Season's greetings.
Oh, because he refuses to engage in this conversation, like really transparently the whole time.
Okay.
And I have Hutch
well, I guess
PTSD because he did the same thing when I debated him. So
Yeah, he's also very passive aggressively, like trying to make Pisco look like when Pisco talks. Kind of annoying a little bit.
okay.
I'm more offended by his arguments, truly, or lack thereof, than him. Him personally
Sure.
is fine or whatever. It's like pulling teeth trying to get answers to very straightforward questions for some reason.
Okay. So I guess what I'm
It
more
would let me
confused about
prepay
is
membership in advance for myself, or you can donate memberships.
why his position is bad on this situation, because it was, to my limited knowledge, his position was just that Ethan Klein would have simultaneously
After all, when is the next time you're ever going to see a Zionist trans streamer?
wanted to dig at
That
these
is not
people, but
Jewish.
also protect his copyright.
He could have, but that's highly improbable and pretty much invalidated by other pieces of information that Pisco brings to his attention that he doesn't really want to contend with.
Like what?
AKA,
Like
it's never going
that's
to
kind
happen.
of what I wanted to talk about. And if that's not, if this is not the right time for this, you guys are in the
No,
middle
it's
of a
good.
video or something like this.
Brianna Wu? No, Brianna Wu is a disappointment.
No, we can talk about it. Wait, why do you
Okay,
think
so
that?
let's say I have the
why do you think
running
it's
theory.
possible?
Streamer.
Well,
Keyword
I don't see
streamer.
why
Do you have
that
that
Okay.
is
position?
possible.
Keyword streamer.
From where I currently stand, yeah, it seems like he was annoyed with them going through and watching so much of his video without like adding significant substance to it. And he also really wanted to get back at these people. He hated them clearly.
Sure. So, how much? Like, do you have a ratio that you think they factor in at?
No, that's not, I haven't really thought about like a percent for each. I don't think there's one that's like 80-20 or anything like that.
Because I would say, like, maybe there's like a tiny bit of copyright here, but to me, it seems pretty transparently obvious. Like, what I would say is that he wanted to hurt these people in any way he could, and he told this story about protecting copyright exclusively because he just didn't want to get called like a bitch for suing these people over previous drama. Like, I don't think that it actually was
okay.
a positive motivating factor, and that's mostly predicated on one, his video announcing the lawsuits. He said he was setting a trap for them. He also says that their stated intent is a reason that he wanted to sue them, but when he registered the copyright and was planning to sue people, he couldn't have known what statements they were going to make. So obviously he was planning to sue people, very much like pre-planning, setting it up, set up his entire video under the premise of suing people, and he had no idea what statements they would make, right?
Well, couldn't it be that he set up this under the premise that he would be suing them based on their past conduct? And then once they had made the verbal statements that they did, that then pushed him to pull the trigger on the lawsuits?
I don't think so, because he didn't say that that was a part of any of his pre-planning going in. And basically, I just think no matter what they said, they were getting sued if they reacted to the whole video. Right?
Okay.
Like, is it
so
possible
where
that he
is
was
that?
like 50-50 there and he got pushed over by what they said? I don't know, because what they said, so what I would say here is what they said was I don't even believe this is true for Denims, but let's say for Casey Tron, you would say it's Casey Tron's intent or statement of intent to siphon views from him, right? That pushed him over the edge?
Sure, let's say hypothetically, yeah.
Okay, so when Ethan Klein debated XQC, he said, XQC, I think it's intentful siphoning of views from you. When you take my thumbnail, you barely react to the video, you take my thumbnail, you put yourself in it, and then you take basically my title, and you upload that the same day or the next day. I think
Very
that's
kind of
intentionally
you.
Siphoning views. So XQC did that with the content nuke. Do you believe XQC do you think he has changed his opinion and doesn't think that's intentionally siphoning views anymore?
Are you saying that Ethan said this? I don't remember this, but
He did say
if
this when he was debating
okay.
XQC.
So if he did say this in earnest and it wasn't in the middle of a debate to make a point, then I don't know. He could just believe that by having that conversation with the XQC, he could convince XQC to not, I don't know, further react to his content. He could view XQC as not really a prolific person to be siphoning his content, because I'm not even sure how frequently XQC watches Ethan's content.
I think XQC
but
was the
he could-
prototypical, maybe the worst offender for this kind of content when Ethan confronted him about it.
During
Yeah,
Rackgate.
probably, but I don't believe he was a principal person who was consistently reacting to Ethan's content. You could say that XQC, and well, I'm not sure if we would include Asmongold, but you could say that XQC was definitely a person who would do non-reaction streams and stuff like that, but to Ethan specifically, because Ethan would levy the lawsuit, unless we're saying Ethan would levy a lawsuit on other people's behalf, which I'm not even sure he can do.
But for this, he wasn't. Ethan has called him a prolific infringer in the past, but it's true that it wasn't over him XQC infringing upon Ethan's content. He was just sticking up for other smaller creators that XQC was doing this to. But for the content nuke, Ethan literally watched a clip from XQC's live stream after he released the nuke, and XQC literally admitted that he was not reacting. He was like, "I'm watching. Am I reacting to this? No, I'm watching. You guys, what about it?" And Ethan watches this, and he's like, hey, "Listen, I respect it. You know, I acknowledge he's the king of this shit. This shit being the copyright infringement." So when that clip exists, and then a couple of months later, he releases the video, I'm suing these creators, and the standard he outlines for quote unquote like malicious infringement or whatever, like XQC falls under the standard that he outlined in the video as the stated reason, and yet he didn't go after him. And he said that going after them would have a chilling effect on the reaction community. But it's weird because it's like, if you acknowledge this guy is a prolific offender of infringement, if you acknowledge that even in the video in question that you're enforcing your IP rights on, this content nuke, you saw a clip of him admitting to just watching and not reacting or trying to be transformative, and you still don't go after him, how can anybody take it seriously that is really your primary intention going into these lawsuits, and that you're actually doing this for the good of the React community and to preempt the lawsuits from like so.
I don't disagree with that. My only issue is that Straighterade probably will go even more beyond that, right? Like, yeah, my position on this is that I don't think the intention was ever to save the reaction community. I think that's silly. I think that's a silly notion. I think that's a silly stated purpose. I don't believe that's actually the real stated purpose of it. Oh, with that being said, I do think that he did out of spite, but it's justified spite. That's it, right? And that's just how lawsuits work, right? That's my, like, I wouldn't disagree with any of that. I would just say it's justified.
Sony and Disney that bring down a standard that's not good.
So the idea would be in my mind that a couple of things could be in Ethan's defense in that. Number one, he could believe.
Why are we talking so slowly? 1.5
XQC to get them to stop doing this. He could believe that even he himself could be capable of speaking to XQC to get through him to not do this. However, there is one objective, undisputable fact: is that nobody in the world is going to get through to Denims and Frogan and.
Hold on, but he didn't get through to XQC. It's kind of like totally irrelevant because XQC still did all of the things Ethan asked him not to do. Said we're showing you intentionally siphoning views. XQC did all of the things here, so I don't know why we're like hypothesizing. We don't really have to hypothesize the reality.
Because we can. Because it's whether or not an individual could be considered reasonable and could be reasoned with.
Also, who gives a fuck about the sanctity of the React community? Because I'm included in it. I mean, unless you're saying you don't care about my career, right?
And not whether or not they created a perfect insulation for them to never take accountability from outside sources. The only people who could ever, in theory, stop Denims and all these other people from doing this type of React type content would probably be Hassan. That would probably be it. He's the only person who could do it outside of themselves that would get them to stop doing this. Now, hold on. So from Ethan's perspective, and again, I want to return to my original statement that I'm not saying that he's only doing it for the justice of the whatever stuff. He got mad and upset that these people have been harassing them or him for quite a while, and he saw that there is no reasonable way to get through to them. So then he levies this lawsuit where he believes that they're infringing on copyright infringement, and so he's like, well, I can't get through them. Nobody else reasonable is going to get through to them, and I really don't like these people, so I'm going to do this.
So again, in this hypothetical you're doing, it's about them reacting to his content and not the other things that they've done.
Denims, Frogan, Casey, etc. are a way bigger threat to React streamers than Ethan is the argument? No, I don't buy that argument.
No, it'd be a mixture of both. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the lawsuits was a mixture of both.
I think that's cool.
Before this, was it not just both sides reacting to stream clips of each other, engaging in totally reciprocal behavior?
What are you talking about, Ethan and Hassan?
No, with Ethan and then Denims, Frogan, whatever, weren't they just like engaging in reciprocal behavior where they'd watch each other's content and react to it on streams?
I mean, they were both they would each individually react to each other's content, yeah, but I would definitely argue that Denims and company do quote unquote less reactions than like Ethan and stuff does.
I would agree with that most of the time, but I don't know if that's true with regards to the Ethan stuff because they're specifically getting reference with the Ethan stuff.
Was that I'm sorry, what was the point? Just phrase what you just said?
So I think I would usually agree with you on a lot of these topics. Like in general, Denims plays, I think, what is it, Reuters or Al Jazeera at the beginning of the stream for a long time. She'll take people's content, right? But with regards to the Ethan stuff, when she's getting referenced specifically, that's maybe the only time she's actually reacting and talking through stuff because it's about her. So I don't know if there's any evidence that she was just stealing Ethan's content or something.
Well, even in the example you gave, it would only be content that directly references her. I was talking about primarily the content.
How does it cope when they're perfect targets for companies to clamp down on copyright infringement because they can point to them as people who intentionally steal money and views? You're correct, but then copyright companies could go after any other person that is way bigger than them. Like, for example, if copyright companies really want to set some crazy precedent around it, then they could have gone after someone like Sniper Wolf, right? XS Sniper Wolf. And also, this kind of behavior will not dissuade any of these React streamers from reacting to other people that is not Ethan Klein, right? In the same way, like it wouldn't dissuade any of them. It wouldn't, and it wouldn't dissuade people like Sniper Wolf either, right? Like these people are like fake reactors, right? In a way,
content that they would react to is stuff that would like talk about Hassan. They would just go, "Oh, he's lying," and then just play the video for another like 15 minutes.
So you think bad reactions are things you can like differentiate with?
I mean, there has to be a line of bad reactions, and
I'm saying like having the wrong opinion. Like they're stopping and then they're going to give their opinion, but having like the wrong opinion.
Having a wrong opinion is not a barometer for this. No.
Okay, so we feel like Denims was just doing lazy reactions. I haven't seen that. I've only seen the clips that we bring up where she's actually talking through stuff. I don't know that it has happened or hasn't happened, right?
Okay, I mean, to be fair, I don't think I've ever watched a full Denim stream. Fair enough, but I did watch fair amounts. I think I watched like 30 minutes of her reaction to the content nuke, and it wasn't much to me. But yeah, I mean, I don't see why the argument of, yeah, he was motivated by spite and by a lack of reaction from them couldn't be viable.
What if I told you in the lawsuit that he filed for Denims, there's multiple points and instances where he actually puts, like, he transcribes what she said in reaction to the content nuke that he's suing her over and says these arguments are incorrect, and literally like fact checks her within the legal brief that he filed, while he's simultaneously trying to argue that it's not transformative. Like, how would you reconcile that? Like, you're saying it's not transformative because she didn't give substantive rebuttals. And when I say substantive, I don't mean correct. I just mean she disagrees and then expands upon it, even if it's not well reasoned or like a good way or like a good disagreement, or it's false even. She does attempt to do that and manages to do that while she's reacting to it. Ethan even acknowledges this. Like, how can he say it wasn't transformative in her case when he's literally trying to like insert, like debate her in his legal brief?
Because I mean, I feel like it'd be more surprising if you told me this didn't happen. So I don't think Ethan is like a supremely intelligent person. So that's number one. And number two, to my knowledge, in a lot of legal situations, people just throw everything at the wall. So like this.
Also, not only that, like, wasn't somebody said, guys, okay, you guys have to find evidence for this, otherwise I'm not believing it. Didn't somebody say that the reason why this happened in the first place is because of Dan? That Dan was the one that passed this idea along to Ethan?
Situation where it's like, hey, yeah, I mean, the only thing that would be relevant for that would maybe be like a defamation thing. He's obviously, her giving any kind of commentary would be substance against Ethan's argument, regardless of the validity.
Jstlk says that?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, then I don't believe it.
But
then I don't believe it.
Yeah, it's like Ethan is going to view this as like,
not.
oh yeah, no, she was lying about me. I'm going to put that she was lying about me in this because I don't think he's like a super smart guy. And also because it's a legal thing and he wants to throw everything at the wall. Yeah, not only did she not react much, but when she reacted, she lied.
So wait. So it's your opinion then that basically if she had, that there was some world where Denims reacts to that whole thing and he doesn't sue her, you think that's a thing that would have happened?
If he, what? I'm sorry, what?
So he described this entire process where he's going to set a trap where he registers with the Library of Congress to get special statutory damages so he can sue these people and cause far more financial ruination than he could otherwise.
Because if he could sue anybody he wants, he'll be suing Hassan. Straight up, he'll be suing Hassan, and it wouldn't even be close. If Ethan Klein really set up this trap in the first place to sue whoever the fuck he wants, he'll be suing Hassan. And you know, the way that you transform the content, be damned, right? So that argument doesn't make sense, right?
He sets a trap. He lays this all out, right? There's all a whole bunch of pre-work. You think he would have done all of that, and then when Denims reacts to the whole thing, you think there's a reaction she could have done where he doesn't sue her?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolute-fucking-lutely. Yeah. Wait, what? Does he actually believe this? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I mean, because I believe that if she actually, like, for instance, in watching your
so
guys'
she's far more
reaction to this video,
transformative than a bunch of people who did this as well, right? Like far more transformative. So okay, sure. Why do you think that he would not sue?
The transformative factor isn't as important as the malicious factor. The transformative factor is not as like important as the part where they stated that, hey, you know, let's not give Ethan Klein any views, right? Like, can we acknowledge that part at the very least, or have we lost all sanity?
To her if she was transformative, and then I want you to tell me whose reaction was transformative enough that was the bar.
Maybe Hassan's. But when you're looking at, like, for instance, how you guys are reacting to this particular video,
I'm sorry.
I don't think it could be argued anywhere to any human being alive that this video that you guys are reacting to, your reaction is not transformative. I've been watching you guys for like 20 minutes, and I think I've watched like 3 minutes of the video being played. Okay, yeah. This is one of the most transformative reactions I've ever seen in my entire life. So, and if Denims did anything like that,
and you know what? You ready for a hot take of mine? I think that Hassan provided one of the most transformative reactions to Ethan Klein's content nuke. He did. Every single 2 seconds, Hassan would go on a tangent and I watched this entire thing, okay? He would go on a tangent for how many minutes? 20 minutes? Every 5 minutes? Every 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes of the stupid fucking thing. He would cope, right? Because he's coping, right? Because he has to make sure that his talking time is more than Ethan Klein's talking time when he was reacting to it, because he wants to make sure that that Ethan Klein's ideas wouldn't take precedence over his own ideas. That is why he transformed the content, okay? So it isn't transforming the content in like in a good faith way. It's transforming the content in a bad faith way where he is able to get away with a lot more, because guess what? Well, there isn't really that much, because his runtime on his own like arguments runs a lot more than Ethan Klein's runtime, right? It's the definition of transformation. I mean, it's transformation for bad faith reaction purposes, but it's still a transformation, okay?
With the content nuke, which I believe Hassan did something similar. Wasn't his reaction like 9 hours or something like that? It was like a full day, people, right? Yeah, it was like a full fucking day this guy did this. Okay. I feel like there's no shot in hell, even if you want to ask me a separate question as to whether or not he would have wanted to give her a lawsuit, but if you ask me if Denim's stream was the same as Hassan's, it was 9 hours with like people coming in and like guest stars or whatever,
sure.
Like all that shit, I
believe Ethan has basically already said in terms of transformativity that Denims passes muster, because he had said explicitly he didn't want to chill reactions like Asmongold Asmongold and XQC. Now, what did Asmongold and XQC do that Denims didn't?
What? No, I don't think
He said he didn't want to chill reactions like Asmongold and XQC. He wanted them to be able to keep doing the stuff they do. What did Denims do that Asmongold and XQC didn't?
So from his perspective, I'm going to have to guess here. He could be, because again, we're not making an objectivity argument here. We're making an argument from Ethan's perspective, right? And this is the same guy who...
I assume that means transformativity. Would you agree with that? When he says, I don't want to chill reactions like that, he means from a transformation perspective, right?
I would assume so.
He's talking about...
So I would assume that combined with the piece of evidence that was presented to me by Straighterade for the court documents of him inserting the lies there, it's that probably he has some, and I think I recall hearing him say something to the effect of like talking about like the lies that she said. He's probably including like lies that are told about the content or in general while reacting to the content. And like I said, I also think he has a grudge that he wants to make out here. And so he's suing them also on top of that. So he's saying like, yeah, I don't believe this is transformative content, but part of the reason I don't believe this is transformative is under a false pretense that lies makes it less transformative. And I don't like these people. And now he doesn't want to chill this type of content to Asmongold and XQC. Well, he doesn't believe it's going to necessarily chill it as much because they don't lie as much or they don't do these things that Denims and Frogan and Caseytron does.
Okay, so when Pisco said that Ethan was wrong and gave these exact reasons, right, and then Ethan called him a moron, do you think it not kind of proves out that he's heard the argument back in the other direction, that like it is transformative or more transformative? No,
he tried to, but he wouldn't do
on
it.
Pisco's coverage. Do you think it's not?
Oh, like a
do
video
you
or
think
something?
after he's received like backlash that says, hey, that's not how this works, has he tried to update the lawsuit? Has he admitted he was wrong on this, or has he called the people who pointed out that he was wrong morons?
No, that's perfectly in line with my thought that he's just not a very smart person.
Okay, do we say that people get to do immoral actions or do things for the wrong reasons because they're just dumb? Like this is the Trump. He actually really.
No, but I never said. I don't think this is like a particularly immoral thing. I don't. But even if I were to accept that it was, even if I were to accept this is one of the worst things ever done, what the argument is whether or not he could have, and this is the idea, he could have done this with the idea of him wanting to protect copyright and him not liking these people in mind. And I think that's true. I haven't seen any evidence to show.
What you're arguing here is basically that his bias totally clouded his thinking, and he couldn't identify that Denims had a far more transformative reaction.
Oh, Ahrelevant needs to be careful here. I think Ahrelevant needs to be careful here. I don't think Ahrelevant should be making like a very, very far claim or a risky claim that is not as strong as the other claims. Careful.
XQC. And so even though he said XQC standard, XQC's react, which was a good enough standard that he didn't want to sue him, that he didn't want to chill that, he didn't even want to chill it. Not that he didn't even want to sue him, he didn't want to chill XQC's reaction, right? So he focuses in on the statements made, which is the intent to siphon views, so that he doesn't chill XQC's reaction, which is A-OK. You could argue he was so biased that he couldn't identify that Denim's reaction was better than XQC's, far more transformative.
I don't think it's like he's so biased. I just don't think he's really smart.
Okay, but
so
like,
I think he's not a particularly
on a counter, right? XQC added like 20 minutes to the runtime.
Hold on, you guys still hear me? My computer just froze.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that he only added 20 minutes to the runtime, but again, I can go back to my previous argument, which is that he doesn't view XQC as like a significant threat to Ethan's content. For instance, in an example where I actually, let's say
you believe Caseytron or Frogan or Denims are?
Let me give you a hypothetical. Let's say me personally, I have a big streamer like XQC every once in a while watching some of my content and not being very transformative. I'm not going to be nearly as upset about that as I might be a group of people who I feel are specifically and intentionally targeting my content and have been doing so for months. And especially if these people are just like being malicious and I feel like they're lying about me and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So Ahrelevant is making the anti-fan argument, right? Okay, people need to understand. I think people need to understand that there are two arguments that you can make. Okay, there are two arguments that you can make. Oh fuck, not two arguments. Is that you need to make sure you need to stick to one argument. Okay, because there's a difference between whether or not they qualify for the lawsuit in the first place, like qualify for being sued, and there's a difference between that and we should sue them anyway because they deserve it because of all the bad things that they have done to Ethan Klein, right? I feel as though these are two different arguments.
I feel like there's a very human reaction to that kind of a situation, and especially if you enter the context that XQC is willing to open a dialogue with Ethan, so he's at least able to reason with this human being.
But you don't want to get these mixed up, okay?
He didn't let it happen.
I don't know really how you can say some of the things that you did in this conversation and say in earnest that conversation would have been in good faith. Do you really feel like that conversation would have been a good faith dialogue?
In terms of the good faith conversation, Ethan
was the one who invited her on, and then she took him up on the offer, and then he retracted it. Yeah, so Ethan was under the belief that she could have had a good faith. There was a good faith discussion, or that if it was bad faith, that he could embarrass her. But then when she actually stepped up to the plate to speak to him, he wouldn't do it.
Assuming what you're saying is accurate, I would just assume he was posturing more than anything. I would assume he's like, oh yeah.
Then I don't think that. How do you reconcile that with like Denims is the one that's not willing to have an open dialogue? If like
I don't
he's
think
opening,
either one of them are.
What do you think about the fact that Ethan has, based on legal counsel, had to retract defamatory statements multiple times?
And that's, I don't know. He's trying to keep himself secure.
Like a guy who's like a prolific liar on the internet.
That
I'm saying he's lying here when he has totally inconsistent reasoning, and I feel like you've come in and gone, we should give him the benefit of the doubt. I just feel like really he like actually lies a lot on the internet. Like I feel like he just has an established reputation as a liar on the internet.
Okay, well, and, like, I'm just talking about whether or not his motives even. No, you're trying to establish a motive for.
Wait, what? An established liar, Ethan Klein?
That I don't think you can establish. I don't think you have enough evidence to say that he doesn't care about copyright. I don't. What have I said?
I don't think he's an established liar, but he's like an established like bad faith gossiper, right? Like he's like a tabloid. The way I look at at Ethan Klein is like the same way I would look at some kind of celebrity tabloid, right? Yeah. It's like, oh my God, could Destiny be a pedophile? We hired 5 cameramen to follow Destiny around to see whether or not he is keeping children in his basement. Right? It's kind of like that.
That is totally improbable or impossible. I feel like everything that I've said for a not particularly intelligent guy who I've already admitted has a vendetta against these people can come to the conclusion that, yeah, you know what, I'm doing the right thing.
He doesn't care about like fair use or the protection of the React community. I wouldn't say he doesn't. If I said he doesn't care about comment, or sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not
what
anyone was arguing.
Or like basically his argument is, I'm doing this to protect.
He said Destiny is a pedophile. That's even worse.
One, that
tabloids wouldn't even do that.
It's a precedent for anything that he's claimed.
That is pretty bad.
2, he's actually made it obvious that now any creator can do the same thing in retrospect whenever they want, right? So if you, for example, Relly, were reacting to Hassan content and he didn't like that because you've criticized him in the past, he has a vendetta against you, he could retroactively register his stream with the Library of Congress and sue you. And if you did react to his stuff and if it wasn't transformative enough, which by the way, the bar is way above what Denims or XQC or 90% of people who reacted to it did, he would just win and he would be able to enforce statutory damages on you that you probably wouldn't be able to pay. That's obviously like an unfair thing that would happen, right? Given the meta that he participates in, you participate in, right?
How does that do away with my point?
You're sorry. I said obviously it's not about him caring about copyright. I said it's more about him trying to protect the React community, which he's lying about. I don't believe that copyright goes into his motives, but I think his overall thing, his stated opinion, is just factually incorrect. We'd agree on that, right? His stated opinion for why he did this, that he's trying to protect the React community, that's obviously false.
I believe that if you want to ask, is it objectively correct or can I reason out through his motives?
Well, I don't want to do the subjective like mind reading thing because you're going to read positive intention into him at all times.
Oh, well then, yeah, but everything that every single React streamer does is retarded. Like what? If we're talking about from an objective standpoint, why the fuck are we even criticizing anybody? You guys aren't going to do anything.
Wait, but doesn't that work in our favor though to show that that's the copyright thing is literally not really a factor then? Because if every single streamer is engaging in this, then to go after these specific people to settle other scores unrelated to the infringement, especially when Frogan gets like 80 viewers, Caseytron gets IDK how many viewers, Denims gets the most.
Bro, I keep on forgetting that I get more viewers than Frogan every single day. What? Just let me be happy, okay? Yes, I do get more viewers than Frogan every day. I am valuable as a human being.
Most out of all of them.
I'm sorry.
If like this is rampant, he goes after them. Wouldn't that suggest that the primary motive is because of personal vendettas and not to do with copyright infringement?
Wait, which one are we talking about? Are we talking about personal motives or are we talking about whether or not there's objectivity behind it? Because Jstlk just
got a Rising Star Award? One day, okay.
I think we easily say this in terms of ratio. His primary concern was copyright and his views being siphoned. He would go after the people siphoning far more views, right?
No, that assumes a reasonable, rational person. I don't think Ethan is a particular. Just to be clear, I think
we're going to assume
Ethan
Ethan's rational for the rest of the conversation
though.
because if I just assume Ethan is retarded at all times and I can explain all of his issues away by being a retard, then it's like not even an interesting conversation. You can literally say
you can say it's not an interesting conversation. But
why
we
did
need to
Ethan
talk
rape that
about
retarded girl, the Down syndrome girl? Well, he's kind of retarded, man. He didn't have bad intentions. It's like totally pointless to have that conversation, right?
It's not totally pointless because that's how we get to material reality. This is a guy who has a history of doing things that are not particularly intelligent, doing something that's not particularly intelligent. If you don't know how to read the world, I don't know what to tell you. Like, yes, I feel like these people probably
they're fighting.
There's actually a case that they might have.
I think you have to criticize the lawsuit then on the fact that Ethan does not have the agency. He needs a guardian. He can't sue people. He's not an adult with actual agency because he's too stupid to take responsibility for his actions.
No, it's that when looking at this situation, everything that I described fits with somebody who's not particularly intelligent, but is not totally retarded. Okay, so it is that a guy, he has a vendetta against these people, right? He sees that they haven't been reacting as much as he would like. And again, what Straighterade brought up is perfectly in line with this idea. Oh, they're lying about me, so that means
I don't think Ethan is dumb. I think Ethan is deliberately malicious or retaliatorily malicious or justifiably malicious or even malicious for no reason when he wants to. I don't think I like the argument that Ahrelevant is making. Like I'm going to defend Ethan Klein's actions. I will. But nobody ever makes my specific argument, right? Like nobody truly does make my specific argument. I don't even think Steven makes it. It's like my argument is, once again, all right, I think it's bullshit. That he claims that he's protecting the React community, but I think that he is totally justified and within his rights to do the lawsuit, right? Because I do think it's valid for him to do that. I do think so. I unironically think so. The issue, I guess, it's just I don't know. When you file a lawsuit, you throw everything. I agree with that. What the fuck? I'm not talking about you specifically as a person, okay? A viewer, all right? I'm saying all these other content creators are not like me. That's my position now. Okay, Dan. I'm gonna read if people keep trying to talk about this for next month. Well, because it's retarded. It shouldn't even be a conversation. No, the more interesting conversation. I feel bad because there's a much more interesting conversation here that everybody does not give a fuck about. Nobody gives a fuck about the more interesting conversation here, which is objectively speaking, in my opinion, the fact that you need to provide supporting, like whether or not you can go so far as to do a lawsuit for the sake of bringing down someone that that you do not like because you feel as though you are justified to do so for a different reason, right? So your lawsuit's reasoning and the reason why you're pursuing the lawsuit is not matching up. Let's just say these reasonings, these justifications for doing the legal shit does not match up. Well, are you still justified in doing something like that? That is the interesting ethical discussion to have, right? Like that's the interesting like ethical discussion to have. But I feel like no one wants to have that discussion. No one wants to actually see if you can provide any kind of moral or ethical arguments. The reason why that's a more interesting discussion is because you have to provide some kind of moral basis for your claim. You have to provide enough substantial evidence for your claim. But instead, we're like constantly in retardville. We're like arguing about the most retarded points ever, and the conversation never goes anywhere because it feels like it's not interesting enough. I don't know. It's just very silly. Yeah, a justified slap. Yes, that's correct. Yep. Whatever.
Is that it's less fair use. This is perfectly in line with a guy who's not particularly intelligent, and then so he's like, yeah, you know what? They're lying about me. They said a bunch of bad stuff, and I got a vendetta against these people, so I'm going to start a lawsuit against these people, and they won't listen to me. I can't reason with these people.
Ethan's intelligence to me is a red herring in this context because he's also obscenely wealthy, and any lawyer that he would have consulted would have told him.
Oh, by the way, here's another piece of evidence of why I think Ethan Klein is not just stupid. He goes after Destiny. He made a calculation to go after Destiny. There's no reason for him to do that. Even a stupid person would know not to go against someone who is fighting on your side, right? Like even a stupid person would consider that that's not exactly a good idea, right? The reason why he did it is to get the anti-fans off his back, right? So that he can signal to them, hey, by the way, I'm also anti-Destiny, right? I'm also anti-Destiny, and that is why you guys should no longer bother me. That's a calculated move. That's not the move of a foolish man. But it is foolish to have pedal troll like 7 years ago and not expect Destiny to dig it up, right? Like that's like the move here that, in my opinion, of something that is like ultimately was not a part of his calculation on that part. But how did that work out for him? Not good. It didn't work out well. I mean, you can call him stupid on that, but I think it was a calculated move for him, like a very malicious, calculated move for him to go after Destiny, in my opinion, right?
If you listen to them, like somebody can lie and they can still be transformative, and that doesn't constitute infringement, so you probably shouldn't put that in there. So he can be stupid, but like he's not the one who actually wrote the legal brief. He directed his lawyer to fucking do it.
Absolutely. So maybe we can get Pisco's opinion on this, but based on my limited knowledge, and I'm speaking with other lawyers and directly interacting with a legal case extremely recently, they will throw fucking everything at the wall. I just interacted with a legal case literally 3 weeks ago where they were throwing literally everything at the wall that had nothing to do with the case whatsoever. So I imagine
Pisco like spurred the fuck out about it. Pisco like got super
okay, yeah, I understand Pisco spurred. Did Pisco spurred the fuck out about it being?
Spurred about the case.
No, because I want to separate something. Did he spurred the fuck out because it's very obviously not relevant to the material facts, or did he spurred the fuck out because okay, well then yeah, I would agree with that. However, that's not the
I'll tell you another example. I'll tell you another example of him not just being dumb, but every one of Ethan Klein's moves is calculated. I'll tell you another example. Asmongold, Tectone, and the right-wing orbiters. These people are practically almost neo-Nazis. They are pretty much making neo-Nazi arguments. They are. They are making neo-Nazi arguments every day, okay? Ethan Klein is Jewish. Now, you may think that that has nothing to do with one another, okay? But you have to keep in mind that the reason why Ethan Klein does not go after people like Asmongold is because Asmongold is anti-Hassan. It's because they serve a purpose to him. And that purpose is more important than their promotion of anti-Semitism, okay? And how close they are to the neo-Nazis and Nick Fuentes. In a way, Ethan Klein is almost like a race traitor in a way. Like, I like, in my opinion, I'm kind of comfortable calling him that in a way because you consider yourself an ally of people like Asmongold and all of these right-wingers who are almost neo-Nazis or pretty much just straight up like neo-Nazis who like flirting with neo-Nazis for the sake of getting back at your enemy. You don't have principles, okay? Nor do you care about the welfare of Jews, in my opinion, all right? The only thing you care about is yourself.
That's not part of the premise.
Not involved in the lawsuit is like the grand movie of Palestine.
Do lawyers throw the book at people when they try and sue them? Do they throw everything that they can?
They throw relevant arguments in, and I don't think there's any
This is not true. Okay, so I wish I could leak a recent legal thing that I went through. This is not true. I went through a recent legal case with somebody very, very recently, read all of these briefs with lawyers that I promise are probably better than what any of the parties, including Ethan, had. And these lawyers sent everything, okay? They sent like emails talking about them going to hardware stores and said like these people are clearly like malicious actors, completely irrelevant shit because you just throw fucking everything at the person when and you just just hope whatever sticks. And
so there's nothing that could have been put into
person,
the legal brief that could make you question or doubt the primary intentions of Ethan, no matter how absurd or like how much the arguments are like they seem to be reaching.
If you include infinite absurdity, obviously, if he like put like nudes of denims in there completely unnecessarily, yeah, I would say that's ridiculous. But this specifically, that in the context of a fair use argument, that a dude who is particularly not intelligent was like, oh yeah, here lawyer, here's some examples of this person lying during the reaction. Like I could 100% see Ethan sitting there going like, oh yeah, she didn't react to my content at all. And actually, you know what? Here's a
I think Ethan is more afraid of the leftist, intellectualized anti-Semitism than the conspiracy theory of right-wing anti-Semitism. Well, he would be delusional. He would be delusional. That's number one. Number two, even if you're somebody who thinks that left-wing anti-Semitism is worse than right-wing blatant anti-Semitism, I think that you should at least give some degree of attention to right-wing anti-Semitism. I think that even if you care more about left-wing anti-Semitism, that's fine, but you should at least give some degree of concern, a moderate amount of concern, at the very least, to right-wing anti-Semitism. Ethan Klein gives none. Ethan Klein gives no regard, no mention of right-wing anti-Semitism, and only focuses on left-wing anti-Semitism. This, to me, is not the action of a Jew that cares about other Jews. This, to me, is the action of someone who only cares about himself and who has spited him. He is a very spiteful person. I agree with that part at the very least.
Better point. When she reacted, she also lied. And yeah, put that in there. I could 100. You don't think that's something that he would do?
I mean, I
could absolutely see him doing it. I think he did direct his lawyer because again, if you listen to his lawyer, they would have said that actually transformation doesn't hinge on like how honest the person is being in their commentary. But given his ego and arrogance, I can see that he told them, yeah, put it in there anyway. But then I only brought that up to say that speaks to me what his primary intentions are.
He called out people like Fontes more than once. Then he should call out people like Asmongold. Because guess what? It's people like Asmongold and Sam Hyde and all of these people who also push them all the way to the front. Why? Calling out Fuentes means nothing if you're not willing to call out people who are also a part of his system or his network. Calling out Trump means nothing from a Republican standpoint if you're not also willing to, not calling out Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi means nothing if you're not willing to call out the person who is at the very top, right?
Just to launder in all of his beef and grievances with these people into the legal briefs.
You said he didn't do that at all, though? Sorry, let me rectify my statement. I mean from the gamer sphere, the gamer right-wing sphere, okay? Yeah, now that's more accurate, sure.
As a way to dunk on them. And that to me signals that like what he primarily cares about is just embarrassing them and making life hell for them and not actually the infringement or any harm that came from their infringement, allegedly, or anything about protecting the React community from a lawsuit from Sony or Disney, which is literally what he said.
Okay, I understand you can have that takeaway. The way that I take this away is it's just standard legal shit of throwing everything that you can at your person, the other person, and this doesn't even feel like it's that crazy. I feel like when you start getting, like I truly wish I could show you guys this legal case that was really significant and had really big lawyers, super big lawyers, and like some of the best in the country. And
do you think it was relevant, or do you think a lawyer would add something to say that Hassan is like the Grand Mufti meeting Hitler when it's like Hassan's not a party of the case and Hassan's not being sued for copyright?
Right, sorry, what specifically isn't relevant?
Like the Hassan is like the Grand Mufti of Palestine who met with Hitler.
I don't know. I would need to see the context.
Okay. And then do you think it's possible to have like an actual argument on this when we don't treat Ethan like a reasonable person? Do you think there's like any way? Because then it's just basically having like an emotional argument, right? Like if we don't treat...
I don't like Ahrelevant's multiple choices in choosing to do this debate. I consider Ahrelevant to be a smart person, okay? I do. But I cannot endorse this.
Ethan, like a remotely reasonable person, when we just say he's like retarded, then we can't analyze his actions with a logical lens. So basically,
Ahrelevant, you said he's retarded multiple points in this. How are you saying that he's reasonable now?
We should have a conversation because if I try to hold him logically accountable for his actions and I say, like, given this progression of facts, there's clearly no way that this happens, right? You're like, well, actually, I think a retarded person could think that anyway. Then it's like, okay, then we're having like an emotional argument.
No, because the problem is you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You're saying that because I previously called him retarded in some of the things that I did, that means that he is so incredibly retarded that this guy needs a guardian. That's ridiculous. You can't just go from 0 to 100. I think Ethan isn't a particularly intelligent individual and he has a vendetta. And I think with those two pieces of information, all of his conduct makes sense. What of his conduct, if we don't think he's a smart person, we actually think he's a bit dumb, let's say that, he's actually a dumb person, and he has a vendetta, what bit of his conduct doesn't make sense?
Most dumb people are incapable of being like rational actors? Like, do you think they don't act in their own self?
In specific moments, they can be rational.
Okay, but this isn't like a moment. It's like a legal case where you go and talk to a lawyer and you talk to them and talk through the case you want to present before you present it, right? This isn't like a momentary lapse. This is like, would have been over like days or possibly weeks that he would have gone to submit this lawsuit, right? It's not like a snap decision.
I don't, what is...
In fact, because of the registering of the copyright, we know in fact that it was months that he planned these lawsuits for.
And?
Oh, wait,
so
not only that,
we have to treat him like a reasonable person. We can't treat him like an illogical retard, or else it's pointless to have the conversation because anything he does can be explained away by the fact that he's an illogical retard.
And then wait, really quick. He registered the copyright for the content nuke back in January of this year. Then after they all reacted to it, he also registered another piece of content that Denims reacted to right before, which was the H3 podcast episode that was like celebrating the debut of the content nuke. And he registered that with the Library of Congress right before he launched the lawsuit against her as well.
I don't know what that has to do with anything. What was your
showing
point
that he probably had a good idea that her original reaction to the content nuke was transformative, and he registered a different stream so that he could still sue her because it wasn't about the content nuke. Actually, he just wanted to sue Denims.
So basically, there was nothing. There was no reaction that she could have done that would have saved her from not being hit with a lawsuit over copyright infringement.
So basically, when
couldn't you just make the argument
this is a good point. Just really, well, I'm going to make an argument real quick, and then you can hear the whole argument and then tell me. So basically, Ethan registers this content nuke.
I can tell who was more schizo.
Fuck. And then after her reaction, registers a different piece of content, which is the stream from earlier that day, where she got up and walked away. Right? To me, that is the perfect indication that he knows that it's transformative, or it's at least on the line, because he wants to sue Denims. He registers a new piece of content, which
or maybe that he actually legitimately has a suit, and that's why he's doing it. Hello? Well, why does it have to be like this conspiracy theory where Ethan Klein secretly knows that Denim's content was transformative? Maybe it's because the case doesn't just hinge on that; it hinges on the fact that like her stated intention was to harm Ethan Klein's bottom line. Hello? What the fuck? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? God, he's so fucking retarded, bro.
The stream from that day, so he can still sue Denims and guarantee some kind of damages against her. Do you think that's implausible?
No, so
why would he sue another stream from like months later after
he
registered the original ones? Why would he like register a new stream months later?
I mean, there's multiple reasons. He could want to sue her for more money because he believes that there's multiple different instances that would strengthen his case to be able to present in court against her and to be able to also get higher amounts of damages for her. He could believe that specific instance was a particularly greater display of a lack of reaction and theft of content. Like, yeah, I don't know why you're just saying that that's not possible. Why are either one of those theories not possible?
No, they're definitely possible. But if he could just sue them for the first, if he could just sue her for the first case, right? If he was only suing people who actually infringed on his copyright for the first case, and that's the entire purpose, then why did he register that second thing, or why did he have to? Why is he still suing her for the first case?
He has multiple different instances of her infringing on his copyright that would strengthen his case. You're literally asking me, why would I, during a lawsuit where I'm trying to make an argument that this person is a prolific copyright infringer, why would I not get multiple instances of them engaging in copyright infringement?
Oh, wait.
Because I want to strengthen my case.
Did he say this in his video? That Ethan said, did Ethan say he was limiting his scope just to his prepared content and not his streams? That's why he wasn't suing anybody who reacted to the H3 streams?
No, I'm just presenting a very clear line of logic that I feel like is super plausible and super intuitive for why he could have done this. If you have something that shoots that down, I'd like to hear it.
Well, apparently he said that he was only going to sue for prepared content, for people reacting to his prepared scripted content.
Is that John Oliver?
I don't see that here, but
the other thing to me is, what do you think of this?
I swear to God.
If they are infringing upon his copyright, and this really is about being primarily upset over that and not primarily about his personal dislike or his beef with them, why didn't he use any of the DMCA tools or send a cease and desist letter before launching the lawsuits?
Maybe because he wanted to directly have these people get like a monetary punishment for doing this in the hopes that they would never do it again.
They're broke. They don't have what monetary punishment could he extract from them when they don't have money? That's why Casey Tron had to settle. And then her apology was like only a little bit was about saying, I'm sorry about infringing upon copyright. And then it's like, I'm sorry to the clients. I'm sorry about anti-Semitism and leftist spaces. I'm sorry for the comments I made about Asmongold's mom. Like, just get basically financially coercing her to extract all of these apologies from her that are completely unrelated to the stated intent for this lawsuit, which is copyright infringement and protecting the reaction community.
Because, I mean, them being broke doesn't change the fact he would want to hurt them monetarily. In fact, it would strengthen the idea that he would want to hurt them monetarily. Because if they're broke, then they won't be able to keep up this behavior.
We agree that he wanted to hurt them monetarily. We're saying that's primary and massive motivation, way more than anything else.
Yeah, because
he could be suing other people.
Yeah, because that's, to me, the fact that like he's suing them even though he knows that he's going to lose money in this entire process. It wasn't just like trying to deter and like change prevent a lawsuit from Sony or Disney to protect the little guy and not chill the reaction community. Okay, if that's really your motive or whatever, then you wouldn't just be maximizing the behavior around this lawsuit to curtail their individual infringement. You would be thinking like, how do I curtail their behavior as well as anybody else who reacts like them? Because regardless of what his like intentions are, you know, if his complaint against Denims and Frogan goes the distance, like it actually goes to trial, he would, if he's actually sticking true to his principles, and this is about, limiting the argument to, I want to go after reactors that do this intentional stated malice thing as an additional factor that should make something not fair use, right? Then if he wasn't doing that, then this lawsuit is no different than any other lawsuit as far as going after reaction streamers, because you could still chill the entire community, because it could set a devastating precedent if he doesn't make it that narrow. Yeah.
I mean, he's already devastated
whether or not he would know whether or not it would. I imagine that
he's already like totally fucked over the React community, right?
No.
That he's like presented a
method
that essentially nobody knew about.
Non-existent.
Yeah, sure. XQC's reactions aren't offensive. They're critical commentary. So in terms of like chilling commentary or chilling critical commentary, he has now revealed a method that very few people were aware of, where you can sue and skip actual damages. Usually the way copyright works is you sue for actual damages, the views that were siphoned away, right? But in this case, he's suing for statutory damages, and he's now revealed a way to most people where they can sue for statutory damages and just crush small commentary channels who are critical of their stuff.
I don't blame him for doing this. I think if you really wanted to do this, and if you were like a large channel, I'm pretty sure you could figure out how to do this pretty easily. I don't think this was like a ninjutsu secret.
No, not really. I don't know if I like this argument. I don't know if I like the argument of like Oh, well, you don't understand. If they wanted to find a method like this, they could have done it easily. You sure about that? You sure about that?
Sign trick, that 101 secret facts for how to sue another person. It didn't seem like it was a particularly complicated method that this dude went through to do this.
I think essentially nobody knew about it. I do not believe this has been done through YouTube yet. The reason this was made, this was made and used most extensively by the RIAA to go after people who downloaded music. So if you torrented like 3 songs, they could basically bankrupt you, right? That's why this legislation exists. That's what Ethan Klein's doing. He's like the RIAA trying to bankrupt people who stole a couple songs.
And to me, it's almost mutually exclusive, because if I grant you, Relly, that he is directing his lawyers to just throw shit at the wall to see what sticks, as far as like building a strong legal case against them to make their, to make it maximally hurtful to them financially, socially, etc., then that goal is almost mutually exclusive with fighting to establish a fair use precedent that's not going to chill the reaction community. Because in the course of these lawyers throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks, they are inevitably going to they're going to create a standard that could potentially chill the reaction community. So the fact that he decided to go that route in the lawsuits, to me, tells me that he is completely fine with creating a devastating precedent if it actually went to like a trial and he like went all the way.
That's not true. His 100%, without question. I know this for an absolute fact. He is assuming that they all settle. He's assuming they all buckle.
So then it's not about
an absolute fact.
It's not about establishing a fair precedent. Then that invalidates the claim to it.
No, it doesn't. Because then the consequence of that would be that people, us individual human beings, can look at the social consequence of that, where it's like, oh, okay, that if we do this type of thing, some people can clap back. I should be more careful about doing this type of malicious content sniping. I shouldn't do this into the future. You don't have to have a court precedent for the established like social precedent of I shouldn't be going out here and saying I'm just going to steal other people's content.
No. Stop this irrelevant conversation. Sorry, Relly, you have to tell me how you know for 100% fact that this is the case.
Because based
I want to join the call. Build a time machine first. Please.
Entirely on his posture and his action and his willingness to be able to have these people settle.
No, you can't predict his actions. This guy's a dangerous retard. This guy's a dangerous retard. You can't predict his actions. You can't say
I absolutely can predict. So I reject your narrative that
he's
just totally non-autonomous.
Wait,
the problem is your mind works at a 1 and a 0.
You said he was non-autonomous.
Again, like this whole argument with like, oh yeah, you don't understand, man. He's just retarded. Do you know who else uses this excuse? Dan Saltman. Dan Saltman constantly says that he is retarded in order to cover for what he's doing. It's not exactly good faith.
No, your mind works in a 1 or a 0. Jstlk, let me ask you a simple question. Can people be dumb but not totally incapable and retarded?
Yes
or no?
But do you understand? Okay. You just gave yourself carte blanche to be as subjective as you could possibly be and never argue anything. Just anytime you want, you go, well, he's dumb in this case, but not in another case. That's what you're doing right now.
Absolutely not. No, you need to provide me an instance where he was so incredibly, what he did is only explainable by a total and complete retard that needs a guardian.
So he went to
far,
file
you have not done that, not even close.
He went to file a copyright case, and then he presented a video where he said, this is my reason for filing a copyright case. He would have talked to the copyright lawyer. He would have obviously said, this is why I want to file it. The copyright lawyer would have said, what? Oh yeah, that's totally fine and we can totally do that. Or they would have said, well, you could say that, but technically under the law that doesn't work. Do you think the copyright lawyer would have said, hey, this is how the law works? Or do you think the copyright lawyer would have said, you're totally correct?
I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's well established whether or not any of this is as fair use under copyright.
It's pretty well established that when you say, I'm going to set a precedent based on stated malicious intent, that is not something that can happen in copyright claims. That is not like
that it's not stated malicious intent. The lawyer probably told him that, but then you know what the lawyer probably told him? I don't know.
But
look at the video. I mean, it might be copyright.
Around how that is the problem with copyright infringement. Like he wanted to set a precedent where stated malicious intent isn't allowed to happen, but he didn't want to chill anybody else. That's what he said.
Well, probably because he believed that it was
fucking retard. That is not possible.
So yeah, probably.
His
lawyer would not have. His lawyer probably wouldn't have said that. His lawyer would have said that like stated malicious intent isn't relevant to this particular issue, right? But this person might have committed actual copyright infringement. That seems like they might have. We can run this shit in court, and then he would be like, yeah, you know what? Let's run this shit in court and throw this shit at the wall. And then he could say that was his intent for pushing this shit forward, especially if you put it in conjunction with the idea that he's expecting these people to settle, which I fully expect. I don't think in any way, shape, or form Ethan Klein thought all of these broke people were going to be able to go band for band for him in court.
So lying is okay because he expects them to settle.
It's not lying. Where's the lie?
But it was primarily about protecting the React community.
He can believe that it's primarily about protecting the React community. If you want to talk about whether or not objectively it will lead to that, that's a separate question.
They will not set the precedent. But if he really believes the precedent can be set, right, then why would he even want them to settle if he could set the precedent?
The precedent can be set without even the trial in the first place. If he expects them to settle and to back the fuck out, then the precedent can be set.
Works.
He's not trying to set necessarily a legal precedent. He's just trying to get these people to back out. If he was trying to set a legal precedent, why even let any of them back out? Why let any of them? No. Answer this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure precedents can still be set. Without it going to trial. Wait, who's the one that's claiming that precedents can only be set when it goes to trial? Is that Jstlk? Well, I mean, he's a moron. So
if he's trying to set, I want you to answer this question. If he's definitely trying to set a legal precedent, why would he let any of them back out ever?
Because Casey Tron is a poor like hillbilly fuck, and Dennis is going to fight until the end.
He said it multiple times. He doesn't care.
Oh,
no, you need to answer that.
Hold on.
Why would he let any of them back out?
Sorry, but you're right. My answer is obvious. Copyright isn't actually his concern. his
legal
concern is
sense?
hurting these people, humiliating them.
No, okay, so
you.
you're
You got
no,
me.
no, no, because you made the argument
Let's go.
No, you made the argument that this was a motive for his primary concern. I never made that argument. I never made the argument that yes, he clearly cared about a legal precedent. My argument was that he cared about a precedent in general.
I
never said that he cared about getting a law put into the book.
His stated reason for doing this is to set a legal precedent against explicitly saying you have a malicious intent. Explicitly.
Did he say that? Can you?
Yes.
Maybe he said that. Okay, where is that?
Yeah,
where is the legal
precedent? It's in his video
statement?
about this. It's in
we
his
pull it
video
up?
about this. Yeah.
I'm
Like,
curious.
it's at the very beginning. Hold on.
Okay.
Here, I sent it to Jstlk.
This video.
Hi there. My name
Wait,
is
how far do we have to
Ethan
go
Vaughn,
in?
and my
It's
favorite
at the very
hobby
beginning.
is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers. Today, I invite you into my home to share my favorite pastime with you. Join me in creating
Better
generational
not
wealth
be
for
a
my
real
attorney.
dollar.
That's about copyright,
Let me
right?
tell you guys a story. About a
That's definitely not spiteful.
year and a
it's
half
about
ago,
copyright.
it's a big conversation called ReactGate. ReactGate was a debate going on in the streaming community about what constituted fair use. People like Hassan, XQC, and many of the large Twitch streamers would watch other creators' entire video on their stream. They would rarely add sufficient commentary or even pause the video to speak. Most egregiously,
It'd be such a big dick play from XQC to do precisely this to Ethan over this video specifically.
they would re-upload the entire VOD to YouTube with the same thumbnail, the same title, so that they could cannibalize traffic from the original video. Here's what Lamino had to say about this phenomenon.
I don't mind
So the exact thing that he complained about before, I think we've all identified that Denims and them did not
people
do this.
reacting to my videos, but I do mind when they play the
XQC did.
entirety of my video. A face cam in the corner or the occasional interruption does nothing to address that issue. My video is still being played from beginning to end in someone else's stream or video. It's neither ethical nor necessary to feature the
Oh, do we need to go to this timestamp instead, or? Oh,
entirety of someone else's work. Or, they could do the bare minimum and ask for permission. Something that none of the major reaction channels have ever done when they've streamed or re-uploaded my videos. But to answer your question, no, I don't want people to stream or re-upload the entirety of my videos.
Now, understandably, this made a lot of people angry because why should these content thieves essentially get more views than the author of the video, which in a lot of cases was happening? I mean, people don't like injustice, and we all see this, and no, it's not right. This debate culminated when XQC, one of the prime suspects, called into my show to debate me, in which case I'm sad to report that I was terribly owned. So in that regard, do you care at all about like IP or copyright or like the fact that it's illegal? Does that matter? That it might be illegal, does that matter to you?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Is your stream like on Discord isn't moving for me?
Oh, wait, is it broken for both of you guys?
It just wasn't moving. It just showed like Ethan's face and it wasn't doing anything.
What about now?
Okay, now it's good, I think.
Watch your whole stream cam, do the fucking warm, then watch
Do
your
that.
then watch your prime
Do it
content.
for a week. Do a week of no reaction content and see how many fucking views you get. Oh, okay, sure. I mean, that's content, man. It's original content, at least. The ultimate debate, bro. He hit him
It
with
is
the worm.
funny.
Oh, why didn't I think of that first? I kid.
I do love that the worm, okay, XQC actually won this debate because the worm led to XQC doing all the things that Ethan just said were bad to the content nuke, and he didn't get sued. So WXQC, the worm actually totally wormed into his brain.
XQC, but he is not the one I'm suing. Despite my criticism, he's not a
What?
malicious infringer. But the ones I am
Oh,
suing,
okay.
you'll see, are much, much worse. Now, ironically, after this debate and in the wake of this large conversation, the problem seems to have only gotten worse.
That goes along with the motive I was
Paving the
referencing
way of
earlier.
fair use.
Goes along with what?
The motive I was referencing earlier. He believes that XQC is not a malicious infringer, i.e. he's somebody who can be reasoned with, i.e. he's somebody that can be talked to. He's not trying to just steal people's content. That's not his
Oh,
intent.
this is
so
this
he's
is
Still pull
post-hoc
up
code. This is
Exhibit
post-hoc
B.
code.
Pull
Yeah,
up
this is
Exhibit
post-hoc
B.
code. Yeah.
Bring.
which is-
I linked to you where he literally watches him react to this very piece of content that he is suing them
Dog.
for infringement.
And then here is more commentary from XQC. Let's see how long he can go without offering any commentary or analysis on this Hamas hype video.
The entertainer.
Very good edit.
What?
I like this part.
The
It's very
fucking
good.
dumb cartoon crunching.
Yeah.
Did they put a timer here just to show how long it takes XQC to say anything? Like further mogging Ethan as he watches this? That's fucking
God.
I invented this type of reactor, by the way. I invented this type of reactor, literally.
You are a fucking
No, this is Maple Leaf Rag. This is Maple Leaf Rag. Oh my, I'm such a moron. I'm sorry, I failed. Oh my god, take back my music, my fucking music certifications. Holy shit. I can't be beating level 10 in merit certification for piano if I can't recognize this.
trendsetter, a path blazer, my friend.
This is actual Sneeko level in the cuck chair. You're trying to make a point about copyright infringement. You're watching this guy infringe and go, I invented this kind of infringement. As XQC laughs and says, I invented the exact thing Ethan's complaining about here.
A fine watched path blazer. You blaze down that path with the fucking sickest watch.
I mean, I think Mr. Share is an XQC originated thing too.
He's pretty, I will say, he is pretty,
I
It's
don't know if
Maple
that's
Leaf Rag. It's Maple Leaf Rag.
I'm pretty sure it's
I
a
don't
Hassan thing.
remember.
I remember when that shit was OG, and I'm pretty sure it was Hassan.
I think they say Mr. Chair on XQC's stream, but I think it is an XQC, sorry,
So Lav is back the moment he breaks up with Cherry. Go
an
figure.
Hassan original. I think they say it on XQC's stream because it was a
What,
Hassan thing.
what do you want me to say?
Oh yes, yes.
yeah.
What do you want me to say, bro?
Fuck, I don't even know where we're going here, but I do believe that when he debated XQC, he explicitly says, I think this is maliciously, like you're maliciously siphoning views, you're intentionally siphoning views. The exact same thing they stated they were doing because of how he does it. Hold on a second. This is more
when
what
he's
I thought.
talking
No, but
to
that's-
XQC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is it?
Okay, well, wouldn't that
you think it's
pertain
crazy
still to the idea that he can
back-
have a dialogue with these people? That's at least he feels like is somewhat productive.
No, because they
No.
infringed upon the content nuke.
Because he did the same
If
thing.
he still
He
kept
can have a
watching, you would have
dialogue.
seen.
He can have a dialogue with them. So it's. I'm sorry.
But
Hold
he-
on.
but hold on, he
Hold
had-
on. Can I just say this?
If you
Is
tell
this so
somebody raping is
unreasonable?
bad and then they keep raping, are they
Wait, so Ahrelevant Ahrelevant's argument, right? Like, let's just be very clear. Ahrelevant's argument is that the reason why XQC isn't the same is because XQC doesn't want to intentionally affect the Ethan Klein's bottom line, right? Like if XQC is reacting to something, he's doing it because he wants to make money for himself in such a manner where it is super easy and he doesn't have to worry about doing high effort reaction, right? Like he doesn't need to react harder. However, the problem is that you are doing lazy reactions in addition to stating that you want to do it maliciously, which supports the action, right? It is motivation plus the action, which ultimately results in a valid lawsuit, right? So just to be very clear, that seems to be, to me, what's going on here. So
somebody that you can have a dialogue with.
What? Do you think
you've asked them
this
to
is
stop?
rape?
Well, it's non-consensual taking.
This is
non-consensual taking.
This is not at all comparable to like a violent, very obviously problematic.
Okay, hold on. You know what? Let's not do the rape analogy.
I'm just going to do one for one. Why? No, just let me say. I started speaking and you just spoke over.
You've asked them to stop stealing your content. They continue to steal your content. Is that proof that they are capable of a dialogue?
Okay, so I'm gonna ask the question that I started that you interrupted me. Okay, so for Ethan, okay, he can see XQC as a malicious, or even in a particular situation, a malicious content thief in a moment. But by the mere fact that he's able to have what he considers to be a mutually respective dialogue, he refuses to engage in any kind of legal action because he believes that he can put social pressure or use some kind of other means to be able to influence him out of it.
Why?
No. Why not?
No,
why is that? Hold on. Why is that not a thought in your mind that would be okay?
Please tell me why you think he thinks that.
Because he hasn't sued him?
He has the little evidence that it doesn't work. He has the opposing evidence that he asked him to stop, and then XQC said, "Fuck you, I'm doing the worm. Get fucked, loser. I'm stealing all of your videos. I'm stealing the content nuke. Suck my fucking French cock."
Has he stolen all of his videos? No.
Wait, what? Does Jstlk legitimately think that XQC won that debate?
He hasn't.
How's that proof of a dialogue? Please.
He literally can talk to him. He literally can talk to him and have a conversation. I don't understand how you don't realize how this works. You understand? So, for instance, I actually want to hear from this. I have a kind of a comparable thing inside of my chat room. It's called Discord or ban. Okay, if you're saying stupid shit inside of my chat room, I will invite you onto Discord, and you can say pretty much anything that is not TOS, and then I will not ban you. Do you think that makes me the same as Ethan? Oh well, you know what? He has a dialogue. Well, what does that mean? He has to get kicked. That makes no sense. You are willing to have a dialogue with me, even if I think you're fucking retarded and you're doing something horrible. You're willing to have a dialogue with me, so you can stay. Am I just totally retarded for doing that?
No, but you said okay. Wait. I think you changed the goalpost. You changed the goalpost because you went from saying can you have a productive dialogue?
You know what? I like the XQC's. Israel versus Palestine solution. Okay, he's like, guys. What if we just erase all of it, erase all the borders, and then we just have one nation and call it Landia? We just call it Landia. What if we just erase all the borders and we just call it Landia?
Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is actually yes. You are retarded for doing that. You are the Chinese faction that got dominated and taken over by the Mongols. It's like every time we negotiate with them, they say, give us everything and fuck you. And so you keep negotiating with them as they say, give me everything. I'm going to rape your women and kill your men. And then that's how we negotiate.
That's what XQC did, is he raped Ethan's wife.
Yes. That is actually what it is. That's actually what's happening here.
No, it's a very low stakes situation. It's a very low stakes situation.
I can have a dialogue.
Engage in a dialogue with him, and then
can you explain to me what the purpose of a dialogue is? Can you explain to me what the purpose of a dialogue is?
The purpose of a dialogue is to show that the individual has there is some attempt or good faith from the other individual to be able to engage in a conversation about the material facts or the morality of whatever they're doing. And even at the very least, if they don't take away your opinion out of the situation, then the other person can be like socially ostracized, or you could be put on record. You're putting somebody on the record for their positions, and then the court of social opinion or whatever can do its work.
Yes, and XQC literally came in, just real quick, sorry. XQC came in, he said, I'm going to keep doing this. Fuck you. I have your house on my wrist. Get fucked, you loser, suck my French cock. And then he left, and then he kept stealing content from people, and then he stole the content nuke. So what part of that dialogue shows he's able to engage in good faith dialogue because nothing actually got resolved?
Simply
he said,
talking
fuck
about
you,
it in
I own you, you stupid bitch. And then he went and kept stealing stuff.
Like this is a one-to-one analogy for how I do my Discord. I have several conservative MAGA people inside of my chat room, but because every time they say something bad or something I disagree with, I can drag them on.
If they came on and said the hard R instead of engaging at all, would you keep inviting them on and say, well, at least they have a dialogue? XQC
I'm literally forced to ban them if they say the hard R. I can't do anything.
Sorry, imagine it wasn't a TOS thing. They just yell lemon the whole time. There's nothing useful. There's no good dialogue to have.
That's not a proper analogy. They're actually having a conversation and they're giving arguments back and forth. It just resolved in them not both saying eye to eye.
I just want to remind everybody that this was the argument. This was the argument. W dialogue. W dialogue. Let's fucking go.
That was the totality of the argument. The entire argument.
No, he had some good arguments, but he was too tired because he stayed up for like 36 hours before he went and had this debate. So he literally couldn't talk, and then he did the worm. He got completely raped entirely, and then did the worm.
Do you think XQC?
You legitimately think XQC won?
Like today or
possibly? Yeah, but I think
that has way less to do with how reasonable XQC is and way more to do with how big he is of a creator.
Okay,
like let's introduce Occam's. Raleigh, you have barely substantiated anything in this conversation. You've been reaching for the most insane reads for what he could potentially be doing.
I've said nothing about
disagree. But
hey, can you give me some of the insane same things I said?
Sure, but after I finish my point, which is let's introduce Occam's razor. Is it more realistic that that's why he's not going after XQC, or is it that he's not going after XQC because he
It's
needs to
over.
manufacture
Kuihman is
public support for these lawsuits that would probably be viewed disfavorably, given that
No
now he's
way.
What even is the debate? Like the difference between XQC and the people Ethan sued is pretty clear. I know, okay? Jstlk and the anti-fans are just being retarded and they're coping.
he's now the big guy going after
like,
the little
once
guy,
again.
and so instead of he doesn't want to
They're
make enemies out
actually
of XQC and
retarded.
Asmongold
Like
because he
they're
needs them on his side to
unironically
go after these
retarded.
people.
Okay.
No, I do not believe. I'm not even sure Ethan Klein is capable of looking that far into the future. No,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, the ridiculous thing that I thought that you said that was probably a fucking reach, which is that even though Ethan said his stated motive was to not chill the React community and to save them from a potential lawsuit from Sony or Disney that could set a devastating precedent, he's going to sue these creators to set a better legal precedent. And then when you said, oh, well, he wasn't actually talking about legal precedent, he was talking about a social precedent by punishing these individual people financially and socially as much as he could, even though he was talking about a legal precedent. That was the most ridiculous thing that you said.
So, okay, well, you guys have yet to substantiate him saying, yeah, no, this is a legal thing. I do not care if they all settle. I want a legal thing. I want it to be legally codified. I don't care about settlements. I don't care about any of this. I don't care.
Well, he's saying he wants to set a
I don't
precedent.
care about any of these things. I only care about legal precedent.
It's not
so you guys have
necessarily
yet to
legal. He's saying he
substantiate
wants to-
that, and that's how we started watching some videos. No,
he's saying he wants to
listen,
set
no,
a
I love all of you.
precedent, right?
I'm not going to keep getting interrupted, especially when there's
Okay,
more.
you
to
just
do.
like, but you do just like
Like,
ramble and
it's
say
not-
back your shit for like.
Okay, great. I understand you feel that way. I
I'm opting
understand
out
you
of this
feel that way.
conversation now.
No, no,
So
that's
just so you know,
like
really, I'm
actually
opting out.
just
I'm
like-
not interrupting you anymore. I'll be moderating on your side, okay?
Same.
Okay, cool. So for the legal precedent thing, if you could find that clip and stuff like that, that would be really important. Because as far as I am aware,
Slower.
and based on everything that I saw leading up to it, and I only had saw it for like the first, I want to say like 2 months that this was going on. But as far as I saw, it seemed like all of his posture was, yeah, we're going to go through with this court case that these people can't do this. But if they settle, but if they apologize, but if they do these things, then yeah, that will be good.
Okay, let's walk down this. So
that
he
was
wanted
consistent. Please just
some precedent. He
One
wanted some
second. Please
precedent,
just. He wanted either a social or legal precedent. That was my understanding.
What
at the
precedent?
beginning.
What did he want?
He wanted individuals to stop maliciously taking content.
But you already said that he didn't do it to all people that maliciously take content, just people that he felt like he couldn't have a dialogue with.
Correct.
Okay. Where did he say that?
Where did he say what? What
That
part
was,
of
that was his
thing?
rationale, that if you have a dialogue with him, you're exempt.
No, I'm just inferring based on
Oh, you're just making
his
that up.
conduct.
You're just projecting that onto him.
Okay, where did he say what? Where did he say he has no intent
Well, it's just like
to do
you're
it at all
suggesting
for
that
any kind of?
it's
No.
crazy
I'm
to
sorry.
say
We're
that-
gonna play the game. Play the game. Where did he say that he has literally no intent to do any kind of precedent whatsoever, and it's entirely out of spite?
Well, no, what I'm saying to you, Raleigh, is that.
Wait. So so he didn't say that. So you're inferring something.
So
is that what
I'm
you're
saying
doing?
to you, what I'm saying to
So
you,
you're
Raleigh,
inferring?
is that
Wait a minute, are you
suggest it's
inferring?
crazy to suggest that Ethan might look ahead and think, oh, should I sue Asmongold and XQC, or should I sue Hassan's Orbiters? Which one's gonna make me win in the public eye? You think that's crazy to suggest? But you're
When did
willing
I say
to
that was
make
crazy
up
to
and-
suggest?
Right as I came in, you were saying you were scoffing at Erin and saying you don't think Ethan thinks that far ahead.
All of those various steps that she listed out. Yeah, no, I don't believe.
What? So you don't think
Manufacturing
Ethan can
consent.
figure out? You don't.
Manufacturing
That's just
consent
a
for
big
this?
word,
No.
really. I'm sorry, the big word's confusing you. All she's saying is that Ethan knows there will be public support for going after Hassan's Orbiters and not for XQC and Asmongold.
Yeah, no, I don't believe this. I don't believe that's what.
don't think
motivated
Ethan
it.
can figure that
And-
out?
And to be clear, you said that I needed him verbally saying what I. am
No.
trying to
I was
articulate.
raising
So
that as a point. I was
okay, so you were
demonstrating
just
something
making
to
shit
you,
up. You were literally
I was
just throwing shit at the
demonstrating
wall.
something to you, Raleigh.
So you were just
Everyone
throwing
else
shit at the
following
wall.
what I
You were
just
just
said.
making shit up.
You seem to be lost.
Okay, so you were making shit up. That's what you were doing. Just say you were making shit up.
No,
That's-
Okay, I'm confused. Hold on. I'm looking to it back. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna re-listen to this segment.
Agree, but
Hey, can you give me some of the
let's
insane
introduce-
things I said?
Sure, but after I finish my point, which is let's introduce Occam's razor. Is it more realistic that that's why he's probably a fucking reach, which is that even though Ethan said his
Hard to
stated
follow.
motive was to not chill the React community and to save them from a potential lawsuit from Sony or Disney that could set a devastating precedent, he's going to sue these creators to set a better legal precedent. And then when you said, oh, well,
I
he
would
wasn't
be
actually
interested in
talking
the
about
legal precedent.
legal precedent, he was talking about a social precedent by punishing these individual people financially.
Guys, I'm pretty sure Ethan Klein was referring to a legal precedent, right? Pretty damn sure. Pretty sure I remember Ethan Klein said something about companies like Disney coming in to sue, right? Why would you bring up Disney making a lawsuit? Why would you bring up Disney making a lawsuit if it's just a social precedent? Why would they need to do that?
And socially as much as he could, even
be
though he
clear-
was talking about a legal precedent. That was the most ridiculous thing that you said.
So, okay, well, you guys have yet to substantiate him saying, yeah, no, this is a legal thing. I do not care if they all settle. I want a legal thing. I want it to be legally codified. I don't care about settlements. I don't care about any of this.
Here's what I remember, and you guys can double check me, okay? What I remember is that Ethan Klein said that he wants to be able to set a precedence to protect the reaction community from big companies wanting to come in and try to set the precedents themselves. The only context that would work in that case is a legal precedence. If Ethan Klein didn't specifically say a legal precedence and just simply said precedence, then therefore he heavily implied it, and we can still assume as such, right?
I don't care if
Well, he's saying he wants to set a precedent.
I don't care about any of
It's
these
not
things.
necessarily
I
legal,
only care
right?
about legal precedent.
It's not
so you
necessarily
guys have
legal,
yet to
but he's saying he
substantiate
wants-
that.
But the implication is legal, right? The implication is legal, obviously, right? But the implication is that it was meant to be legal, right? That was the implication.
And that's how we started watching
He's
some
saying-
videos. No,
he's saying he wants to
listen,
set
no,
a
I love
precedent,
all of you.
right?
I'm not going to keep getting interrupted, especially when there's
So, okay,
more.
you
of
just
you.
like, but you do just
Okay,
like
that's
ramble and
not-
say
Hold
vacuous
on,
shit
hold
for
on.
like.
Let
Okay,
Relly
great.
talk,
I understand
but
you feel that
I'm
way. I
opting
understand
out
you
of this
feel that way.
conversation now.
No, that's
so
like
just so you know,
facts,
Relly,
you
I'm
just
opting
like-
out.
Okay,
I
but
won't be
it's
interrupting
still-
you anymore. I'll be moderating on
Okay,
your
great.
side, okay?
Same.
Okay, cool. So
Oh, no.
for the legal precedent thing, if you could find that clip and stuff like that, that would be really important. Because as far as I am aware, and based on everything that I saw leading up to it, and I only had saw it for like the first, I want to say like 2 months that this was going on. But as far as I saw, it seemed like all of his posture was, yeah, we're going to go through with this court case that way these people can't do this. But if they settle, but if they apologize, but if they do these things, then yeah, that will be good.
Okay, let's walk down this. So
that
he-
was
he wanted
consistent. Please just
some precedent. He
One
wanted some
second, please.
precedent,
Just he wanted either a social or legal precedent.
But precedents can still be set upon settlement, right? Wait. Can precedents be set on legal settlement? No, standard legal settlements generally do not set binding legal precedent because they are private agreements without a court's reasoned public ruling on the law, which is the core of precedent. However, settlements can influence future cases by creating persuasive benchmarks for similar claims. Okay, so non-official precedents or a settlement. So it's not the precedents that people generally refer to. It's precedents colloquially. It's precedents colloquially, but it's benchmarks legally. Or a settlement class action might be approved with specific findings that could have limited precedential effect if carefully managed. Okay, so it's not precedence by name. It's not precedence by legal definition. It is precedence by practice. It is precedence by benchmark. It is precedence anyway. It is precedence by practice, right? So even though technically speaking, it shouldn't be set like setting legal precedents. If it is significant enough, and if there is reason enough, other lawsuits could also take that path. That is the implication that I get from that. Also, I'm wondering, do Jstlk and Aaron even think that there was actually another actual avenue to set social precedents? I don't even know if it's social precedents. Like, again, I just want to reiterate that the way that it's being implied is that it isn't about social precedents, it's about legal precedents. I feel like that is the constant implication I'm hearing, right? I mean, you can say that it is, like, depending on what Ethan is saying, you can say that that is, oh yeah, they want to set like social precedents. Well, no, then otherwise why would Ethan Klein bring up shit like Apple and Disney? Then what's the point of bringing that up, right? I also believe settlements can be cited in specific circumstances. I think that when it comes to the landscape of YouTube, you never know. I think when it comes to the landscape of YouTube, I think that because there are so few legitimate lawsuits in such a manner, I think that there may be, and this is just my guess, that there might be a higher possibility of them looking at precedents when it comes to like settlements. Maybe just simply because the volume of lawsuits coming in through the avenue and the platform of YouTube seems so much smaller, right? Because there's way less to go upon when you're looking at, okay, how do we deal with this, right? But with televisions and channels and stuff like that, yeah, there's plenty of shit there. So if you settle there, that's probably not going to produce anything, right? That's not going to produce any kind of precedence because, well, guess what? It's not, there's already too many, right?
That was my
What
understanding
precedent?
at the beginning.
What did he want?
He wanted individuals to stop maliciously taking content.
But you already said that he didn't.
Let's just say that, in fact, it was all for legal reasons only. Why shouldn't he go after people who are terrible to him? That's a different argument, my friend. That's a different argument. Careful. Like I said before, okay? There are two different arguments there are two different states of discourse, okay? That is the more interesting discourse to me. I don't give a fuck about all this legal shit, okay? This legal shit is extra gay, okay? And honestly, it can go to hell. The part that I actually care about is whether or not you can justify morally that you can use a lawsuit based off of a different reasoning to pursue something based off of revenge or spite, in which I would answer then, yes, right?
To all people that maliciously take content, just people that he felt like he couldn't have a dialogue with.
Correct.
Okay, where did he say that?
Where did he say what? What
That
part
was,
of
that was his
statement?
rationale, that if
Yeah,
you
you
have a
can't, yeah.
dialogue with him, you're exempt.
No, I'm just inferring based on
Oh, you're just making
his
that up.
conduct.
You're just projecting that onto him.
Okay, where did he say where did he say he has no intent
Well, it's just like
to do
you're
it at all
suggesting
for
that
any kind of
it's
no.
crazy
I'm
to
sorry.
say
We're
that-
gonna play the game. Play the game. Where did he say that he has literally no intent to do any kind of precedent whatsoever, and it's entirely out of spite?
Well, no, what I'm saying to you, Riley, is that
So he didn't say that. So you're inferring something.
So
is that what
I'm
you're doing?
saying to you, so what I'm saying to you,
So you're
Riley,
inferring.
is that you
Kuihman, are you
suggest it's
inferring?
crazy to suggest that Ethan might look ahead and think, oh, should I sue Asmongold and XQC, or should I sue Hassan's Orbiters? Which one's going to make me win in the public eye? You think that's crazy to suggest, but you're
When did
willing
I say
to
that was
make
crazy
up
to suggest?
right as I came in, you were saying you were scoffing at Erin and saying you don't think Ethan thinks that far ahead.
All of those various steps that she listed out. Yeah, no, I don't believe.
What? So you don't think Ethan can figure out? You don't.
Manufacturing
That's just
consent
a
for
big
this?
word,
No.
Riley. I'm sorry the big word's confusing you. All she's saying is that Ethan knows there will be public support for going after Hassan's Orbiters and not for XQC and Asmongold.
Yeah, no, I don't believe this. I don't believe that's what.
You don't think
motivated
Ethan
his-
can figure that?
I think that 100%. I think that 100%. Ethan Klein is in fact malicious enough and smart enough to recognize like how he would be perceived in the public space. I would probably agree with Kuihman on this. I'll probably agree that like he probably didn't make a calculation when it came to principles, but rather who spited him. However, at the same time, I don't think that's important. I don't think that's important at all.
And to be clear, you said that I needed him verbally saying what I am trying to articulate.
I was raising that as a point. I was
okay. So you were
demonstrating
just
something to
making
you,
shit
Riley.
up. You were literally
I was
just throwing shit at the
demonstrating
wall.
something to you, Riley.
So you were just
Everyone
throwing
else
shit at the
following what
wall.
I just
You were just
said.
making shit up.
You seem to be lost.
Okay, so you were making shit up. That's what you were doing. Just say you were making shit up.
No,
That's fine.
I brought an argument to you. I got you to read something so that I could then.
I'll throw the argument
raise
back
another
at you.
point.
Where did Ethan say that he has no intent for a legal or social precedent? He only wanted.
The state of Bloodsports in the commentary community is trash. This is not the commentary community. These people make up a different space, in my opinion. But yeah, these are not people typically of the commentary community, though. Yeah.
Where did you say that?
I haven't even said that yet, and
you said
So
you asked
just
me
to be
that
clear,
exact
for
question
both
in
of
the
you guys,
opposite
I would say
direction.
if you don't have direct statements, you need other evidence. So Relly, you need other evidence
Whoa,
that he wanted
really?
to. Yeah. So what is your other
Yeah.
evidence
Crazy.
for suggesting that he wants to only discuss this with reasonable people? And then Kuihman, what is your evidence for spite? Go ahead.
well,
Karen
no,
starts.
I'd like Ray to just lay that out. Yeah. So why do you believe he's only targeting people who he can talk to, or people who he can't talk to? Sorry.
Well, I don't believe that's the exclusive thing. I think he's targeting malicious actors.
Well, you
who
believe
can-
that is the
Stop
explanatory
talking.
factor
Stop
for why he
talking.
didn't go after
Just stop
XQC
talking.
Asmongold. That's what you
Please.
said. That's what you said.
I'm responding.
So
Are you
can
going to
you
let me speak or
yeah,
not?
So address that.
No, we gotta stop the interruptions, bro. I'm in the middle of talk. I literally had 2 words.
Well, it sounded like you were going off track. So I'm just reminding you of
Okay,
it.
I
You said
definitely
that was the
wasn't. I promise I'm
explanatory
capable.
factor. That's what
Sometimes
you
I think
said.
we
you
can
want to
enter this
clarify
with
something
mutual
before the other
respect.
person goes. I don't think it's like totally
I was
disrespectful to
starting.
just clarify
I was
right
in the
before they
middle
go.
of it. Okay.
Okay, just focus on
All
that.
right, I see where this is at. Okay, so
I didn't stop you
Just
from
to
doing
be
it to him
clear-
either, Relly. Go ahead.
okay, so just to be clear, all right, I believe that he is targeting people that he feels are maliciously stealing his content, that he is incapable of having some kind of mutually respectful dialogue or some kind of conversation, or he can hold them to account in some way.
I feel as though I don't really agree. Why does Kuihman has a DG style profile picture? No, Kuihman was the first one that normalized it in this space, actually. Keffels is the first person to ever use wigglers, but then the person who normalized it within this specific space is Kuihman.
You said the
This
same
is
thing
the
twice.
original.
This is what I meant by bloviating. So I don't believe that's the case.
No, you asked me
Riley.
for my opinion. You asked me for my opinion.
So
I
you
gave
said
my
that, so you said
opinion.
that, no, what I'm pointing out, you said the same thing twice. You said mutually respectful dialogue with, or some kind of productive conversation. Those are the same thing. So
No,
what I'm saying to you,
I
Riley,
said
is
they could move, he could sway him socially through some kind of social.
So what I'm saying to you, Riley, is that there is no evidence of that because he has not attempted to have a conversation with Denims, Casey Tron, or Frogan about copyright at any point. So why would we believe that that is the factor that is making the difference?
Well, didn't he literally have a dialogue with Casey Tron to be able to get the settlement?
We're talking about the decision to sue, Riley. That's the whole conversation right now. How would the time moves?
No,
in a
yeah, prior
constant linear
to the
fashion,
suit.
Riley.
No, he obviously sued, but then he had a dialogue with her that resulted in him dropping the suit. So that would infer
so
that if
the
he is,
question
if
we're
you-
being
hold
asked
on, that
right
would
here, Raleigh.
that would show that if this individual is willing to be able to have a
Oh,
dialogue
man.
with him, to be able to be like, hey, you know what, X, Y, and Z concession, then yeah,
I don't agree with Ahrelevant here. I don't think the intention. Oh my god, I don't think the intention was ever for the sake of copyright. I don't like Ahrelevant. I don't like Ahrelevant dying on this hill. I don't like Ahrelevant dying on this hill. I don't think the reason was ever the true reason was ever to make a landmark case in the land of copyright or anything like that. The reason has always been to get back at his own enemies. God, why do people keep dying on this hill? This needs to stop.
they would be able to drop the lawsuit. They would settle.
Okay.
But also, I feel like I feel like Kuihman only comes into debates in order to get a quick dunk and then leave. I feel like Kuihman only comes into like these kind of debates not to argue the hard points, but to argue the easy points, right? Because it's so easy to like pin Ahrelevant down on a stupid hill that he's dying on. But it's harder to try to defend like in a debate, like in terms of like the anti-fan, whether or not it is justified to use legal means to pursue people that you really do not like, right? Like I feel like that's a harder debate to have, and I don't know whether or not like Kuihman wants to have that kind of debate. I don't think so. I don't think he's brave enough to have that debate with people like Ahrelevant though. But then again, right? Like I wish people would stop like dying on stupid hills like this, right? It is what it is. I mean, not that I want the best for Ahrelevant either, because to be frank, I don't really like Ahrelevant just simply because he left Destiny before like people who doesn't want to look at the facts. He claimed to be Destiny's friend, and now he has completely turned his back on him. Yeah, fuck him as well. Okay, but like, you know what? All's fair in love and war. Okay?
We have
So
in the
you
lawsuit
agree
itself, just
that
real
it is
quick, just so you guys know,
impossible.
we have in the lawsuit itself, this lawsuit is about ending the practice of lazy reaction videos that copy the entire copyrighted works and purposely siphon views and revenue away from the original. So that is the precedent. they'd
Literally
like
the
to set.
first line.
Okay. So Relly,
That
so
doesn't.
Relly,
I don't
you
think that
agree.
points in any
You
specific
agree.
direction. But
Oh
okay.
my
You must
god,
agree
how?
that this cannot be the explanatory factor for why he sued Casey Tron, Rogan, and Denims, and not Asmongold and XQC, right? You must agree with that.
Sorry, say
'Cause
again.
You're using an example after the lawsuit has already been filed to demonstrate Ethan's reasoning for why he delineated between different targets in the filing of the lawsuit. You recognize that doesn't work, right?
It's not. So it's not just that the delineating of who he would.
That's what you're
if we're
being
talking
asked.
about
He didn't claim to be his friend. He asked if they were friends, and Tiny said no. Wait, what? Are you sure? Wait, are you sure about that? That's not how I remembered it. I remembered that like what was it? Destiny said that Ahrelevant was like one of the most honorable, like most normal, amazing people in this. Like it was a huge glaze. It was a massive glaze, like the kind you would only reserve for like a friend or some shit. I don't know. Like what? Okay, maybe my read is different. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'm
Prior,
wrong.
if we're talking
That's
about
what you're
prior,
gonna ask for.
all I would need to do is say that he didn't believe that he could have a reasonable dialogue with what's her face prior.
Did he attempt to?
I don't know.
The answer is no.
Well, do you know that for sure? Do you know that none of the
Unless they're
staff-
all.
Do you know?
Unless they're
well,
all
no,
hiding.
I'm sorry.
Unless
Hold
they're
on.
all
You
hiding.
made the claim. No.
Some
Do you
secret
know that none of the
conversations.
H3 staff, nobody attempted to reason with Casey Tron at all? Because I know.
It's a Destiny tier antisocial type statement. No, I think from Destiny's position is reasonable, but he is antisocial. He is. Would I consider Destiny to be antisocial? Maybe.
While the
I don't believe
relationship
things
was
without
declining.
evidence. I don't
Okay,
believe things without evidence, no.
no. Okay, well, you just made a claim without evidence. You said
didn't.
no, they did not reach out. That is a
Yeah,
definitive
because
claim.
there's no evidence
so
happened.
do you?
Yeah, because there's no evidence happened.
Okay, so hold on.
It's a negative
lack of
claim, right? You
evidence-
understand? Okay,
a lack
really,
of
right?
evidence means
I
you can
don't
say
have
that
to
it
explain this to you.
definitively
It's quite
didn't happen?
Quite embarrassing, right? I start off.
No, you're
assuming
saying something
hasn't happened,
definitively did not.
And then if
you
someone
wanna-
says,
no,
say
this-
it did happen,
There's
they
no
need to
way.
present
So there
evidence
is.
that happened.
So you are
Okay?
saying something definitively did not happen because there is no evidence at all pointing in either direction.
No, he's
Yeah, there's
saying
no
that if you
evidence
wanna make a
something
positive
happened, so
claim,
I
you
don't
need
believe it
evidence of that.
happened. Correct.
No, you said
Yes.
that it did not happen. Not you're agnostic.
Yeah, I
because
don't
you
believe it
No,
happened.
no,
Yeah,
just
I
to
don't
be
believe it happened.
okay. With no evidence, you know that it didn't happen.
I don't believe
Wait,
it happened.
Kuihman,
Okay,
did you just
so you
apropos
understand?
nothing?
You
Hold on, I
no,
was not
just to be
listening, I
clear.
just need to
No,
work this out right
just
now.
to be
You work it out for
no,
both
no,
of
no,
you.
no, no, no,
Did you
no, no,
apropos
I'm
of
not gonna
nothing
get Steve, I'm
say
not
something
gonna
didn't
say
happen, or did Relly say something
anything.
happened and then you said it didn't happen?
No, I said I was agnostic. I said I don't know whether or not it it did happen. He said it did not happen. He made
Relly
an
said-
affirmative
you
claim
treated
that
it, unless you have evidence it happened, you treated it as though it didn't happen.
Relly asked me, did they reach out? Did they try and have a conversation with Casey Tron? I said no, because no evidence happened.
No, I don't.
Which is not how logic works.
They...
You said something
That is how that
definitively did
works.
not happen.
I think you said no,
Re-
and you should have said
Relly,
no.
if I
You
ask
should have
you-
said
You
Relly,
could
if
say
I
you
ask you-
believed it didn't happen. You could say you
say,
believed
I
it
have no
didn't
reason
happen,
to
but the
believe it.
correct
Yep.
answer is I don't know. I don't have any evidence to show that it did happen. That would be your argument.
Relly, is your brother a pedophile?
As far as my knowledge, no.
Why would you
See
say
how
no,
that works?
Relly? Why would you say no?
See how that works? See how that
Why
works?
would you say no?
Wait, you see how that works? You see how that works?
Why should I?
Well,
No, I
that's
don't
crazy,
believe
huh?
so. No, I don't believe that's the case. That's what I've said multiple times.
No, you didn't.
There's
You
no
said
evidence.
no.
No, I don't believe
No,
that's the case.
you said
There's
no.
evidence.
Okay, so if you want to just say that's your opinion because there is no evidence,
It's not an opinion.
Then that's a
There
separate
is
question.
no evidence.
Okay,
That's
so
not
it
an
is. So
opinion.
it's
There
not
is
an
no
opinion.
evidence
It
for
is
that.
objective fact. The answer is no.
It's objective fact. There's no evidence.
Okay, I'm
That
talking to a
Casey Tron was
retard. Can we
reached out
get somebody
about
else? This is insane. This is crazy.
That-
You just said no. Something definitively did not
I already-
happen because there was
Yeah,
not.
there is
credible
no
evidence.
Have
That's
you got
great.
evidence of it,
Okay.
Relly? Can you
All
present
right.
any evidence?
Get somebody else. I
There is
No,
no
no,
evidence.
no.
Get
Hold
somebody
on, you
else.
guys
disagree.
are having a conversation.
This is
You
crazy.
understand
You
that
disagree.
in
This
effect,
is
Kuihman's
crazy.
correct, but he's saying
Is there
something
evidence?
that's
Yes or no?
incorrect.
He's not.
Hold on. I'll
Relly,
just
is
tell
there
you
evidence? Yes or
I'll tell you
no?
guys exactly how it works. You cannot say, I think this could have happened. Do you have any evidence that it didn't? It's like, no. If you want to use that, if you want to introduce it to the conversation and not just say, well, is it technically possible it could have happened? You need to give some evidence that it's probable that it happened, that there's some reason you should consider it. Otherwise, shut up, okay? But Kuihman saying that it definitely didn't happen is also stupid, and he knows it's stupid. So treat it like it didn't happen.
I'm saying
You shouldn't be
no.
able to
My
introduce
position
it
is
as
No,
a
no,
wait.
thing that
no
happened.
Just to be clear,
Yes.
just to be clear, I
I
never
understand.
said it did happen. No, just to be
Yes,
clear, I
but
never
you're
said it
throwing
did
it out
happen.
there, so
What
we
did I
understand
say?
you have no evidence
You're
of
presenting
something
it as an
happening,
explanation.
but you're
Relly.
presenting it as a possibility.
No,
you're
I did.
just
I
obfuscating because you don't have a real
When did I
argument.
do that? When did I do that? When did I do that?
Oh, well, sorry,
Curious.
you didn't.
When did I
contend
say
when
it did
Kuihman said-
happen? When did I say it definitively did happen? When did
Okay,
I
what is
even
the purpose?
imply
Can
that
you-
it was
can you
more
tell me what
likely
the
that it
purpose?
happened?
Can you tell me what the
Relly, you're
purpose
spazzing out
is
so
of
bad.
introducing a hypothetical scenario that you have no evidence for, other than to obfuscate?
They're talking about positive claim versus the absence of claim. Like, what is it? The absence of evidence. Oh, sorry, the absence of evidence isn't the evidence of absence. Isn't that the meme? Does anybody know? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? As in that, if you are to claim something, you need to provide evidence that something has happened, right? To Kuihman, what? I'm not catching. Okay. I think that people need to put aside their biases when it comes to arguments like this, because you guys need to be able to figure out what's going on, right? Okay. So what Ahrelevant is claiming is that no, sorry, it's not Ahrelevant is claiming. Sorry, no, it's not Ahrelevant's claim. Okay, Kuihman is claiming that they have not talked, that Ethan Klein has not taken the steps to tell Hassan's orbiters to stop doing what they are doing. Right? He's the one claiming that. And the way that Kuihman is treating that claim is that he is treating it as if it is a positive claim from the other end that they have to provide substantiation for, right? Unless there is any evidence that Ethan Klein is showing, or even Frogan and Denims are showing, that in fact they have tried to meet in private and talked in private about this situation, then therefore you should assume that it has not happened, right? Ahrelevant is claiming that he isn't arguing that it has never happened. He's arguing that it maybe it has happened. Maybe yes it has happened, or maybe not it has happened, right? But what Jstlk is saying is you need to provide evidence if you want to argue that there's a probable chance that it has happened, or otherwise you can just assume that it has not happened, right? Does that make sense? Do you get how this works? This is like the art of debate, by the way. Okay, this is important this is a part of your training course. If you want to become a better debater, this is a part of your training course. Okay, this has to be one of the concepts you need to understand. All right.
When it was because I was asking a question as to whether or not they reached out prior, because I don't know. You guys are like A-logging all these people because
Okay,
that's like
so then
what
I
you
think
guys spend
Kuihman's
all your
response
time
should have
doing.
been-
So funny,
I'm
man.
literally
You're
sitting up
literally
there
so
talking about
fucking
politics
shut
all the
up.
time.
Everybody
shut
I
up.
literally
I think
asked the
Kuihman's response
question.
should have
Dry
been.
your eyes,
I
dry
don't
your
have
eyes,
any reason to
dry your
believe
eyes,
they
man.
did.
It's
Dry your
because
eyes.
I've seen nothing
Crazy.
about
I
it.
can't-
Dry your eyes,
Should have
man.
been.
Come on,
That should
dry
have
your
been the
eyes.
response.
I literally
I'm telling you,
can't speak.
Kuihman. I'm telling you,
Hey, nobody got time for that. That's fine, okay? If you work a 9 to 5, you should donate. Because if I am helping you do your job, what you should do is that you should give money to me. Because without me, you know that you couldn't do your job.
You have every right to be annoyed that Kuihman was
I
not
see you 9 to 5
correct.
fuckers.
He should have said, I have no reason to believe that happened because I have no evidence that it happened, right? But then I think you move on and you don't really talk about it.
No, but the problem is he's even refusing to say that. He doesn't want to have
the conversation here.
It's only totally irrelevant if he's actually willing to have a respectful conversation, but he's like, no.
Check my wage cucks. I mean, that's you. You're the one working a 9 to 5. Where's the money?
It's correct to say that something objectively did not happen because I have no evidence.
I was referring to you the whole time.
It's in front of me saying it did.
There is no evidence. It has never been raised. It's been discussed extensively. There is no reason to believe it happened.
So therefore,
right. There's no reason to believe it happened. Kuihman is right. Kuihman and Jstlk are right. Right? Does that make sense? Like, I hate these guys, right? I do actually dislike these people, but like even I can like make my way around an argument, right?
Or it objectively did not happen.
No, there's no reason to believe it didn't happen.
No,
Objectively, it did not happen. Objectively, I'll be super clear. Riley, I'll be super clear.
Like, for example, do I have definite evidence that Kuihman and Jstlk's community is doxing Destiny and doxing everybody around him? No, right? But I think that there is evidence that it has most likely, almost definitely has happened, right?
Shaken, not stirred. Bam.
Yo, thank you, RK, for the 20 Australian. Thank you so much. Dude, fucking WRK, dude. Delivering, okay? That's what I'm talking about, all right? See, this is what we need to see more of, okay? Delivering upon my logical conclusions, okay? But like, for example, I can turn their own argument against them, right? Because they are correct. They are correct in this sense. But in my opinion, if there is at least several pieces of evidence that these communities are pro-doxing, then therefore I can make a probable guess that in fact, yes, I do actually think that you can be justified in defense of doxing of these communities as a retaliatory action, because guess what? There is a lot of supporting evidence, nothing that you can draw a 1-to-1, 100% example of, right? No definite examples of this. However, you can see that they are pro-harassment, pro-doxing, pro-blav, pro-X and Y, right? So that would be a good example of like, I support their argument, but only if they are consistent about it, because I don't even think these people are consistent about it. Like, I don't think because they say this, right? They say this, but they're not consistent about like this argument, right? Because if they were consistent, they can justify doxing themselves, right?
This
hey.
The dankest dungeon.
Actively impressive. Thank you so much for the 1 gifted sub on Kick, okay? You guys should keep donating, all right? Remember, I couldn't do this without you guys, all right? Please think about the poor soul who has to sit here on their ass watching Jstlk and Kuihman divvy it back and forth while Kuihman is most likely waiting for his DoorDash order of fish and chips.
I am not saying.
To be fair, fish and chips are really
it
good.
objectively did not happen.
You said
I think
that
he just tried to
literally
concede to
2
you.
minutes ago. You literally are
clear with you,
flip-flopping,
Riley.
but okay.
I think he just trying to
concede
on that one thing.
It's being so clear.
Okay,
I am
you
not saying it
backpedal, got it.
objectively did not happen. What I am saying is we have extensive information about this topic and discussion, and there is objectively no evidence in the public domain that this happened, and no reason to believe it did.
So this is the reason why I don't think this is a
Us lowly viewers can finally do something important if we donate to Foodshops. That's correct. Why are you still a white name? That's correct, NPC Gamer. You have a chance to be center stage, the main character. Just donate. All right.
very productive
I see you, white namer.
conversation. It's
No,
because
you
that
can't
took
make
like
this about
fucking
anything.
7
'Cause I just
minutes
explained
to
to
be
you
able
guys
to get
exactly
that
how it
out
went.
of
You
it.
were both
Who was
obstinate.
talking
how-
for
you notice how I'm
who was
still not
talking
able
for
to
those
speak?
7
You
minutes?
notice how I'm
You
still
were-
not able to
both
speak?
Riley,
obstinate
who was
as fuck.
talking
I
for those
explained to
7
you how it
minutes? Who was
was.
screaming for those 7 minutes?
You notice how I'm still not able to speak? This is crazy.
I'm only
No
speaking
matter
as a
what,
moderator to
I'm
tell
still
you
not
guys
able
how it
to.
is.
For 7 minutes,
obvious. I
I
said
had
exactly
to.
how
I
it
had to
was.
go back. Okay, for 7 minutes, I had to go back and forth with whether or not this objectively did not happen, because I said, "Are you sure that it did not happen, or do we like whatever?" And he's like, "Yes, it objectively did not happen." I'm like, "Okay, how do you know that this isn't the case?" Because the point
I
that
didn't
I
say
wanted to
I said
illustrate.
objectively there is no evidence. That's
No,
what I
you
said
didn't.
in
He's
Spaced
literally
Out.
just
I did.
lying.
I literally did say that. I literally. I
This
said
is not
objectively there is
true.
no
You said
evidence
no-
this happened.
All
And then you went,
right,
I can't talk to this guy. I can't
All
talk
right,
to this
bro.
guy. I can't talk to this guy. That's
This is
what
what-
you did.
this
That's
is
literally
wait,
what
wait.
happened,
What am I
right?
supposed to
on.
do?
Who
I
was
think
the
what's
disagreement
happening
now?
is that Ahrelevant, you're stating the maxim, absence of evidence is not evidence
It's not
of
that
absence.
evidence
So
of
it's possible to
absence.
not have
Oh! Sorry, I just heard the best.
Just a drink.
Oh my lord. Okay, sorry.
Shaken, not stirred.
Your amount and message will be public.
Yo, thank you so much, Mega, for the 2 Australian. Keep in mind, I did not pre-watch this, okay? The only reason I'm watching this content right now, is because somebody in chat suggested it, okay? I just want to say, you know what? I'm just this smart, okay? I am able to project the whole debate ahead of time,
evidence
alright?
of something, but that doesn't mean it didn't occur.
Yeah.
We just don't have the evidence for it. I agree with that. Kuihman, I think what you've been saying is Hitchens' razor, which is what is asserted without
Hitchens'
evidence
razor?
can be dismissed
What the
without
fuck is
evidence.
Hitchens'
Yes.
razor?
When did I assert it?
What does that mean?
Well, it's you
It'll
use so
just be
really
a
we were going down an argument.
Done
You were
definitely
saying
You're slipping.
so
Ninja
we were going
Wizard.
down.
I never
I'm
said
reminding you where we
happened.
were. I'm reminding you where we
Because
were.
you
So
I never said it
we were
happened.
going down an
I
argument.
want to hear you rewrite
And
it.
we were
retards.
hashing out
Perhaps try
how
to act
Ethan
like you're actually
delineated
interested.
between targets for filing his lawsuit.
Some
Okay.
degree of respect.
Your suggestion is that if he can have some kind of social or interpersonal dialogue with someone, then he wasn't going to sue them. So I presented, well, if that's the case, why didn't he reach out to them? And you said, well, how do we know he didn't? I'm saying, well, there's no evidence he did. But we've got no evidence. For
You
that, so
never
we can
said that.
dismiss
You said he
without
did
evidence.
not do it.
That's where
You
we,
said
that's
he
where
did
we are
not
now.
do it.
Really. We're
Okay.
getting to where we are now.
No.
So whether you can either keep
what do I do? He's literally lying
stop
about
for 1
our
minute. You can either get
conversation.
hung up, rather you can get hung up on the fact I said no to a question that you asked me earlier, because I believe that
I'm getting
that
hung
which
up
is
on you
presented
read-
without evidence could be
refusing
dismissed without
to
evidence.
have this conversation.
Okay.
in good faith.
You can get hung up on that I said no 5 minutes ago when you asked me, did something happen?
You're
There's no
literally
evidence for happening,
lying.
and I said no.
I don't know what to do. You're
That
literally
is what
lying.
happened, really. So
It's
now
literally
we're
not
here.
true.
So
I
we're at
asked
this
you,
point
pull this
here.
up on
I asked
stream.
you point
We'll see what
blank.
happened.
I asked you point blank. Did that? You're saying it objectively did not happen, and you're saying yes. I'm saying no, it did not happen objectively. You said that point blank.
I've just been over the conversation 3 times. You can keep
Oh my God.
rehashing the same thing. We're at this point now, okay? So we went down that conversation.
No,
How does
it's
Ethan
just bad
delineate between
faith.
targets?
I would have this conversation for 30 hours longer with Straighterade or Jstlk because they never did this. They never did this fucking retarded shit where they just
What
made
are you
shit up
crying
and
about,
then when
bitch? Quit crying,
I
bitch.
talked about
Quit
it.
crying, bitch. Just have a conversation.
I'll be
What the fuck are
real.
you
Hold on.
talking about,
Now,
bro?
I agree. Queen's disrespectful.
I don't know. This
Relly.
is so retarded.
Relly,
It's such a
I agree that
unproductive
Queen's
conversation.
disrespectful, but I do believe that, to be honest, during this conversation, you've given like a lot of reasons that you could just like make things up or be totally subjective, and I don't know a way to like handle that other than having a different moderator or to be like rude. And I don't want to be rude because we're friends. So like I understand how other people might have the impetus to be rude with.
They're friends. I beat Dreadlord a couple nights ago. If you ever want to Night Ring, not right now. No, not right now. I'm on an Arc Raiders arc right now. Okay, I'm on a Raiders arc.
And they feel like you're sort of working on your own subjective standard. That is my personal opinion on this right now.
So I
Okay,
really
and
just
I
want to
hope
catch
you would
up to where
understand.
we
Shut the
were
fuck
in
up,
this
bro.
conversation.
I literally don't want to talk to you.
Let me respond.
I'm going to
Let
talk
me
to. I'm
respond
going to
real
talk
quick.
to one of the other 2 reasonable people in the room because I actually don't want to have a conversation with you anymore because you're just trying to move past something because you're
Relly,
like
Relly,
ego tripped or something like that.
Really,
It's
I
really
love
weird.
you. You're very fucking stupid. Okay, you're very
all
dumb
right.
and
You
you're embarrassing
don't love me.
yourself.
I don't know
Okay,
why
so,
you're
yeah.
acting like you love me. But for Jstlk, I understand why you. Huh?
Oh, he left.
Oh.
He was.
Okay.
He was upset.
I thought I got dragged out. Okay, Jstlk, I understand why you would feel this way about my particular position. I hope you can understand that.
Did
from
you want
my
to keep going?
perspective-
I'll keep
no,
going.
I didn't. I thought I got dragged out. I was.
I thought you were saying you.
So
okay.
no. So from my particular position, right?
Can I just
what
ask
I'm
you
sa-
real quick? Like, Straighterade laid out the exact thing in like very precise terms, which you guys were arguing over. I think this turned into either an ego thing or you guys didn't want to actually argue the points.
No. So
Now,
I will
Kuihman, I've
explain
seen
how
argue the
I-
points a whole bunch, and I just expressed why I feel like you're not arguing the points. So to me, I feel like he had an ego thing, and you don't want to argue the points.
Okay, so let me explain my thought process of why I didn't really want to continue having a conversation with him, and I think it's reasonable for me not to. It is because when I pointed out something that he said something that both of you agree that is wrong. You cannot say that something is not the case just because there's a lack of evidence. That is definitively not the case. I didn't think it was a big deal initially, right? I was just like, oh yeah, do we have any evidence for this? Because you guys have watched probably 1,000 times more of this than I have. I said this coming in. I'm only operating off of a very limited window of stuff. I've been talking
So
primarily
you understand that
about Trump's
makes this
fascism
look like way
for
worse,
a long
right?
bit of time.
Like this makes this look like way
bro,
worse because
I
you have
do-
very set in your ways opinions
don't-
about how you think Ethan
I don't-
operates, and you're saying you don't have any factual information to go off of. So when you're
I
like
don't-
really disagreeing
I
heavily,
never said that I don't have
I think that looks
factual
bad.
information to go off. I don't listen, brother. I don't know why you think that I'm trying to dunk on you. I never said said
you're
that I
trying to
don't have
dunk on
any
me.
facts.
I said you have a strong opinion
No,
based on not a lot of factual
just
information.
Let me speak, bro. Please
Okay,
just
go
let me
ahead.
speak. I love you. Okay. I am not here to embarrass you or to score social points. I literally
Didn't say
joined this because somebody who I think is cool
All right, good
has a
night.
different opinion than me. And I want to just hear what your opinion is that brings you to the conclusion that's different than me.
I mean, how to slip up? What slip up?
That's it. I don't care
Yeah.
if every single person in here thinks I'm some loser, whatever, L nerd bullshit.
I think that Ahrelevant is a loser for leaving Destiny and for claiming that he is friends with Jstlk. That is cringe. That is cringe. Wait, hold on. Was it Ahrelevant that claimed that? It was Ahrelevant that claimed that, right? Like, just to be very clear, bro. Come on. I think that hurts more than anything else.
Dude, after this, I literally don't care. I'm talking to
Come
you,
on.
right? You were having
You're
this
better than
segment. I don't
this.
think we would be able to have this
Or
conversation.
maybe you're not.
Like
Maybe this is who you
offline or
are.
anything like that. And I thought it would be interesting to have on the stream. You know, at the very least, it's some type of content. So I'm just asking these questions because I don't know all of the facts. You guys have informed me several of the facts, but many of these facts do not contend with the point of view that I believe that I have, and at least the ones that I was limitedly aware that Hutch had. That's it. That's it.
Okay, all right. So Ethan talks about setting this precedent here. When I pulled this up, you said this doesn't mean anything to you. He says explicitly
Correct.
what he's intending the lawsuit to do: to end the practice of lazy reaction videos that copy entire copyrighted works and purposely siphon views and revenue away from the original.
Correct.
So that is him trying to set a precedent against people who state the malicious intent to siphon views. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I
so
don't believe
when
that
you said,
means
when
that
you
his
argued the whole
only
time
goal
that
is
you didn't
legal.
believe he was trying to set that legal precedent, right? You were saying you have to find evidence of this, and then I believe it. So
no,
do you
I would
remember-
expect this to be in the lawsuit. What I'm looking for is a statement from him that says, I do not care about them settling. They'll never be able to settle. I don't care. Him being consistent in this position. I want to set a legal precedent. I want to come after these people legally because I care very much about this.
Wait, you
Because it
understand
was
that
my
at this point it's
perspective-
out of his
hold on.
hands
just
now,
to be
right?
just to be clear, it was from my perspective that what he believed is he was going to do this to these people and that they were probably going to settle or something like that was going to happen. He was going to scare them, and then that they were going to then offer him concessions, and that what he was trying to do was get it to be on record that this is inappropriate behavior. Not necessarily a legal record, but he was willing to make it a legal record if they fought it, but potentially also a social record.
Okay, that's looking
And
to set
if
a
you
legal
guys have
precedent.
evidence
like
in the
capitulate to me,
lawsuit,
or
Roa's fake cell? Huh? Wait, are you saying that he is like not a real incel? I mean, Ahrelevant claims to be an incel, but he's not actually like a real incel, right? Like just
yes,
fucked?
yes.
Okay.
Capitulate
So he
to me
wanted
or
to set
get
a legal
fucked. But
precedent.
he wanted, if they
Do
refused
you
to
believe-
accept
do you
the
believe if they
social
refused-
precedent, then he would.
Yeah, do you believe if they refused to settle with him that he would have gone, actually, I'm going to drop it, I apologize?
No, I just said that. What I said was if they refuse to settle, he's going to continue with the legal precedent. However, I think the question is, would he allow all of them to settle? And my answer is absolutely. But he would consider this a win if they all settled. Do you disagree with that point?
If they all totally said Ethan Klein has the biggest penis in all of commentary, yeah, I think he would settle for that because it's all about his ego. It's all about getting wins over people in drama and not about copyright.
Do you think it's
the anti-fans better have defended Steven then, right? Like just going off of this logic, like I mean, I guess he attacked Steven and like betrayed the alliance for the sake of his own ego and for his self-protection, right?
possible?
So I
that
think
from his
my
perspective-
thesis is he lied about this goal to everybody because his actual goal as a tiny spineless cuck is to actually make everybody admit that he has a big penis. But he doesn't have a big penis. He's got a very tiny penis. And so what he's willing to do is if you'll admit that he has a big penis, he'll let you off the hook for this precedent. This is not something that actually matters to him.
Okay,
but it is
so-
his stated opinion.
So how is it not plausible that, or even probable, that he just wants it on record, whether it be socially or legally, that this is inappropriate conduct? How is that not plausible or probable?
Already was on the record that all of Casey Tron's stuff was inappropriate conduct. She's been mocked for her bad reacts everywhere, all over the place. If all his goal was social, that's already accomplished.
That's right.
I don't think this is true. I mean, the social
Who's unaware?
being like,
Yeah, okay. Ahrelevant is just making dumbass points. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry, okay? As much as I hate Jstlk, as much as I hate Kuihman, okay? These are really dumb, like fucking Ahrelevant.
Who was
fans, I'm
unaware that
sorry.
Caseytron was a
I'm sorry.
copyright violating loser before this lawsuit was filed?
I guess when I'm referring to, that's fair enough. When I'm referring to social, I'm not referring to people thinking they're a loser. When I'm thinking of social, and what I imagine Ethan is thinking of social, is I might get in trouble. It is possible for me to get into trouble for doing this. So I am not going to do this.
Yeah. Do you think, okay, so what is the thing you get in trouble for?
A copyright infringement.
Okay. Do you think I'm actually concerned about copyright infringement when I see XQC, when he's willing to say Ethan has a huge PP, he doesn't get sued even though his copyright infringement is way worse? Do you think I'm actually concerned about copyright infringement, or do you think my actual concern is saying bad things about Ethan Klein?
I think
Ethan
that
Klein
you could
broadly
say,
gone after people on
you
principle, or people who have gone after him in a reputational way?
I don't think this is an either or. As I said, literally the moment I came in, I think this is a both situation. Now, again, if you want a percentage thing, I couldn't give you a percentage.
Okay, but it's
okay. So if it's not an either or, then it's a mix.
Reputation.
I think he does care. I think he does care about these things.
Higher because he's not actually setting any precedent here.
Hold on. To be clear,
he's willing to
I
let
think
them all settle if they say he is a big peepee.
So to be clear, I think that there is evidence to show that he cares about it by the fact that he's even having these conversations with the XQC. He's having these conversations to a degree with Hassan, right? He's trying to spread awareness about this, issue, even outside of just these specific people like Denims and them, right? He's trying to talk about these issues, which shows that at least to some degree he cares.
We're going to play Divinity when it comes out. What's Divinity?
Right, and even put in other content creators, so it's not even just that he only exclusively cares about himself. But I agree that where it's going to push him over the edge to lawsuit and stuff like that is where it personally not only affects him, but he also views it as like malicious towards or whatever, saying bad things about him. Yeah, he's going to.
So you think the way he showed that he cares about copyright is to let XQC do all the things he said showed XQC was maliciously siphoning views, and to say, actually, you're chill, bro. You're awesome. You said I have a big dick, so you're awesome.
Baldur's Gate.
Is that not an explicit violation of his previously stated principles?
Does Divinity have anything to do with the Divinity franchise? It's another like role-playing game that is high fantasy. Does that have anything to do with that?
That he is going to file copyright lawsuits and explicitly let off the guy he identified as the biggest problem doing all of the behaviors that he identified as the biggest problem.
I'm spurking out on my phone when I should be arc raiding. I play arc raiders.
Yes,
it does. It does? Oh shit. Okay, I might play it.
That copyright is yes, as in when you steal my thumbnail and you steal my title and you fucking react to it and throw it up the next day with no reaction, that is the worst thing on YouTube. Denims did not publish this on YouTube. Denims did not steal his title or thumbnail, right? Denims did nothing to compete with him in his standard marketplace. XQC did all of those things. And he said, XQC, you say I have a big penis, you're all good, buddy. I would never want to chill your reactions.
So that wouldn't.
So I think it's very obvious to me that he has no principles on this.
It looks sick. Oh.
Okay, so
oh my God, I'll check it out after this.
Example. I know you're being hyperbolic, but I think it is worthy of merit that he is, because it's not. He's not saying he has a big penis. What he's saying is that, or what he's doing is engaging in a dialogue.
No, he is just not shitting on Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein,
the
if you have
Divinity
a
Original Sin series. No, I know what Divinity is. I played Divinity Original Sin 2. I played Divinity 2. And I remember having a great time playing that game. Although to be honest, I played it on like the hardest fucking difficulty, and I was getting my ass whooped. Okay, because it was hard. I was like, whoa, shit.
Ethan Klein, you can react to any of his stuff.
Oh my
God. If you have a negative opinion of Ethan Klein, you say bad things about him.
Jesus.
Then that's saying he has a small penis, but he is of the opinion that the biggest transgression somebody can do is not copyright infringement. It is saying Ethan Klein has a small penis. And I am being hyperbolic there. Yes, it is just about the reputational harm that he feels like you're doing.
So then I don't remember. Okay, so again, this is me fully admitting I don't remember. Why didn't he sue every single Hassan orbiter then who watched the content nuke?
I don't know. I don't know what their reactions were like. I have no idea. I've not looked into
but
the
if he was concerned with
anything.
if he was concerned with his public image, wouldn't he sue all of them?
No, because he probably doesn't have a case there. It's really as simple as that. No, that's really simple. No, it's so easy. The reason why he sued Denims and not Frogan. Wait, no, Frogan, right? Does Frogan count? No, the reason why he sued Denims and Caseytron is because he had an easier case with these, right? With the other people, he would have a harder case, right? It could be possible that he could still have an argument. It could be possible that he still have a case, but he would be gambling more, right? Like he would be gambling more in that instance, right? Like just to be very clear, right? You would be gambling more in that specific instance. If you want to gamble, that's fine, all right? But you do have a solid case. You do have a more solid case with people who have explicitly said that they want to harm your bottom line, right? You don't have that much of a case anymore with people who do lazy reactions, but who still hate you. But, they haven't explicitly said they want to harm your bottom line, right? There's a difference.
Why?
I don't know.
Because he's concerned with his image and he wants everyone to suck his dick, according to Jstlk. If you suck the VP of the master,
I think
then
that
you
just
don't
going after 3 people is enough to chill it and signal to people that like, hey, because we talked about this earlier with the social.
No, I think he went after these people. Well, I think he did want there to be a chilling effect among the anti-fans, but I would argue that that is justified, right? Like I would argue that yes, he did want there to be a chilling effect among the anti-fans, but I would then say that it is justified, right? Because it is.
Precedent that it can set. All you have to do is make examples out of these 3 scapegoats, and it signals to everybody else, if you do this, I will come after you with all of this, with like a lawsuit, and I have all this money behind me, and you're not going to be able to challenge it, and you're going to have to basically embarrass yourself like Casey Tron was forced to, or face financial ruin.
Okay,
that's enough to have like a chilling effect.
Why these specific 3 people?
That I don't know.
Don't you think that's really important?
No, I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying that it's not.
No, okay, so the narrative is that he's going after people who are targeting his ego and going at his ego.
No, but I would make the same argument if he went after like.
Vengeful.
Right. And I would say Ahrelevant is gaining some ground back here. The reason why Ahrelevant is right here is because a good question to ask is why didn't, okay? Contemplate this. Why didn't Ethan Klein go after everybody that he has antagonism against? Why didn't Ethan Klein go against XQC back in the day? Why didn't, sorry, not even XQC. Why didn't Ethan, because Ethan Klein has had many enemies. He has had many enemies over the years, right? He has had many enemies over the years, but he hasn't sued any of them for copyright infringement. He hasn't sued any of them for malicious like watching or whatever the fuck, right? He hasn't done any of that. Why is it now that things have changed? You know what? I think that's a good question. I think that they should tackle that question, okay? Because I think ultimately that provides the ultimate justification for his actions, right? Because ultimately his actions can only be derived down from the fact that he feels as though he is at his wit's end and he feels spiteful towards these specific people a lot more than other people, right?
Mike from PA and Sean DeBlack and Denims.
It's just a closeted like Fuentes. Jstlk was a griper though.
He probably should have gone after Mike from PA. Mike from PA has been a really, really bad dude to him. Like said a lot of retarded shit about him. So why didn't he go after him?
I know Mike from PA has.
That was like really bad. He was constantly like playing up Bad Empanada as not being like a bad dude and a lot of the shit that he was
Mike
doing.
from PA has tweets where he's like, CPS should have been called. It's a moral good. He's said stuff like that.
Don't give him his homework. Never mind.
No, I don't mind saying it because I'm saying right now. I'm saying right.
Don't give him his homework. Like, do these people sound like good faith people to you, or are they just looking for a dunk? Right? I've never ever heard. I've never heard somebody claiming something. Somebody asking Steven something, and then Steven then saying, "Oh, I think that I remembered them saying this." Nobody does this except for Pisco. Like, this is a Pisco behavior, right? The reason why Jstlk is now like this and trying to demand the other person produce evidence, even though he knows what the answer is in his head, or maybe he doesn't know what the answer is, but he wants them to produce it anyway, is because he thinks that's so cool, you know? He's trying to, oh my God, somebody trying to force something in which, like, you can force them to answer a question or force them to find it themselves to embarrass them. Oh my God, that's so fucking cool though, right? But that's not good faith.
No, but like, there's reasons that he could have gone after Mike from PA and he didn't, and I don't know why. But if I'm just speaking to Ethan's motives, whether he goes after Mike from PA, Denims, Frogan, Casey Tron, Sean DeBlack, iDubbbz, Anissa, whoever it is, I'd probably have the same inferences inferences about his motives based off the same set of behaviors if he acted the exact same way, just towards slightly different people. Because I don't think you need to go after all of them to have the chilling effect. I think you just need to make examples out of 3 people, like a few people.
So then you
I
would
think he picked the
simultaneously
3
put
people
the same
with the worst reputations so that he could farm positive reputation back in his direction, and
Mike
nobody
from
would question
PA.
why he
Mike
was
from
doing
PA
it.
is a really.
But he
Mike
might
from
not have
PA?
reacted to the
Wait,
content nuke. I don't
Hold
know
on.
if Mike
Who
even
does
did
Mike
that,
from
though.
PA have a worse reputation than in that group of people?
All of them. He called for the assassination of. He didn't he put a hit on a Destiny?
Well,
The
I think he
100K
said that he was
thing?
going to.
That's really bad.
I don't know how to tell you this.
Careful. Jstlk might actually start to downplay that or defend that. All right, just be careful.
That is not worse than Frogan's comments about veterans, is it? In terms of the entirety of like everybody?
Yeah, probably not. Probably
Is
not.
that worse
Frogan.
than
That's fair
Denim's
enough.
calling for a hit on Asmongold? Probably not.
I
Wait, what? Why is there whataboutism here? Why is there whataboutism here? Can't you just say both are bad and just move on? Can't you say both are bad and then just move on? Why is there? But isn't this and what isn't it that? Isn't
I think to a lot of people, I think Mike from PA is worse. I think you can find a lot of clips that make a lot of people agree. Mike from PA is worse than Denim's. Yes.
Okay, I'll just put it to you that we could go to like Auk or Tectone's like Twitter feeds, and we could basically solve this question. When they shit on Mike from PA, how many views do they get? When they shit on Denim's, how many views do they get? I know who Nicholas Diorio has been dialed in on. It's not Mike from PA, right? I think there's obviously 3 people
I
that have
wouldn't
been going
use
on
any of
the
those
entire
people as a
time.
barometer. Why would we use those people as a barometer? I would use
Because they're a
XQC
sign
and I would
of the
use
people who
Asmongold.
are going to be on
I would
Ethan's
literally
side
use
because he
the
goes after those 3
largest
people.
names in all of content creation to point to. Even
Yeah, I would go
I'm
for
pretty sure-
Asmongold too. That's actually you
I
just
think-
gave me
I'm
my,
pretty sure
my best argument.
I'm pretty
Why
sure
do you think
Asmongold
Casey
is
Tron
made-
apologized to Asmongold for saying that shit about his mom?
I think one, because she was a part of this very big lawsuit and it was like she was in the public eye, and number 2, because she said those like really bad things about his mom.
So you think those were
Wait,
sincere
what?
from the heart?
I didn't say that. No, I don't think it was.
Then why? Hold on, that's implied by what you said.
What?
Wait, where does it imply that?
When you say because she did bad things to him, so she's apologizing for them, that implies that those are things she feels.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. I'm saying that she did bad things, at least in regards to the public eye. That's fair enough.
Yes? And why do you think she apologized for them?
Because she wants to. Specifically in the settlement, it might have been because she was specifically told to, but probably to just farm good social credit with as many people as possible while this situation is going on.
Okay, I assume she was given that as a requisite.
What, dude? Oh, Ahrelevant. No, it's so obvious that it was Ethan Klein that told her to say that, right? Like that's so. This is something that everybody already accepted. Oh my lord. Oh my god. Ahrelevant. Game of Thrones.
For settling the case. Might not be the case.
I don't know.
But under that
I don't know
assumption,
why-
let's say if we assume that was true, why would that have been a condition of settling a copyright case?
Okay, so if we assume that's true, which I'm not even sure how good a friend
We don't have to.
Ethan
There's
and
a whole
Asmon
argument
are.
on whether that's true or not. I don't want to have that
Sure,
argument,
but
but if you assume it's true.
Okay, if we assume it's true, then I would assume it would be because Ethan Klein believed that part of malicious content theft is making up lies about people, and then Ethan Klein also wanted to extend the speaking about lies or like malicious shit to Asmongold. I don't know. I don't know what would be the purpose.
It's because
of them
Ethan Klein
adding
wanted
that.
to engender good faith, goodwill with the Asmongold community because he wants public support. That's my contention. That Ethan Klein wants the goodwill of the
That's right. That's correct.
Asmongold community, and it seems very clear.
Do
to
you
me.
have her apology?
He already has it though. Yeah, but there's plenty of interest in perpetuating it, right? Goodwill with another community on the internet isn't just something you can take for granted. It's something that you have to practice continuously.
Apologize to like multiple different large communities then, including like Moist Critical and shit like that?
No, I'm telling you, he went for the Asmongold community explicitly, and this is all. I believe this is
Are
all
they
centered
even
around
cool like that?
him
I don't
looking
even
at
know if
his
they like
support
each
online.
other.
Wait, who? Asmongold and Ethan Klein?
Yeah. Do they like
Oh, they
each
do
other?
now.
Are they cool?
They do now.
Are you sure about
yeah.
that? I actually don't know.
I'm pretty confident that they're like good. I've watched Asmongold say
Okay.
like good things about him.
I mean, I've watched Asmongold say good things about Destiny, but doesn't Destiny fucking hate Asmongold's guts?
Yeah, but Asmongold would talk to him because Asmongold secretly looks up to him as like a father figure.
Yeah, but
It's also, I think,
Asmongold will
it's
talk
not
to a
so
lot
much
of people.
about like a personal relationship between the two, so much as it is that he
Wait, what?
wants to.
Destiny is not a father figure to wait, hold on, no. Destiny is not a father figure to To what? To Asmongold? Wait, what?
Curry favor, like positive favor from his community.
Wait, what?
And he wants to keep Asmongold and XQC's community off his back because he'll lose
What?
public support
Wait, what?
if those
Hello?
That
creators
is-
turn against him.
That is the core thought. Is there's
Looks like
a
to him,
core
but
of
not like
support here,
that. Oh
and he's
my
doing everything
lord.
he can, as in not suing Asmongold or XQC, even though they're
Oh my.
obviously violating his copyright and doing far more harm to him than anybody else, right? And he's going after very specific people: Casey Tron, Denims, Frogan, people who are universally reviled within Asmongold and XQC's community.
Mike-
that like
Mike
off
from
Oh wait, also
Similar.
he threatened to go after
Not
Sean
worse.
DeBlack. He threatened to go after Sean DeBlack because he got
did
pushed
threaten to
back
go after
because
Sean DeBlack.
people were saying that, oh, you're misogynistic because you went after 3 women, and then he was like, that's why I've decided to add Sean DeBlack to the lawsuits for gender equality. Sean, be sure to thank all of your snarker friends for their constructive advice. Then he gets pushed back because of that, because it obviously came off as fucking spiteful. So he puts up another Instagram story that says, I understand my announcement that I'm going to sue Sean DeBlack was upsetting to some. Therefore, in an act of superhuman grace, I will make you this offer. If the snark subreddit, Taylor Lorenz, and Kat Tenbarge, I guess another journalist, all apologize for calling me a misogynist, I will consider dropping the lawsuit against
Yes.
Sean for the same reasons, to be clear. This offer
Based. Fucking Nah, I fully endorse
expires
that.
Sunday at
Fuck that.
11:59 p.m.
Yeah,
Then when he gets
based.
even more flack for that,
By the way, I just want to say again, okay, this is why I support it, okay? Like, I'm just fully willing to not even deny it, okay? This is why I support it. Yeah, of course. Fuck that. Yeah.
he says he was
Go to hell.
trolling, and he uploads another story that says sarcastic non-apologies will not be accepted. Snark, I need a mod to sticky this post with a heartfelt apology because Taylor Lorenz puts an insincere apology. So he doesn't actually extract the apologies from these people, but he also didn't want to go through the lawsuit because he was getting so much criticism for doing that spitefully that he just said, oh, I was trolling.
I would say this is probably the most convincing argument you guys have uttered so far. But for the spite, at least that being driven. But for this, I guess I would need to see. You said a lot of things. I would need to see the
I'll
sequence.
be real with you. I
and-
don't have a lot of concern for your opinion on what is a convincing or not convincing argument. When another argument you make is, I haven't really looked into this at all.
Then why are we even speaking?
Like, I'm sorry, I'm just like you can deal with things, but like you're saying, oh, you guys have made good arguments. It's like you haven't looked into this. I just feel like it's really weird to condescend at all, which is what that sounds like.
I don't feel
when
like
you
that
haven't
was
looked into it.
condescending. I don't feel like that was
I
condescending.
believe it's condescending.
Wait,
You don't believe?
hold
when-
on. I just said this was the
best-
most
this is, like, the
convincing
only good
argument that you guys have made so far. I never said that every one of your guys' arguments is just complete and utter shit. You guys are all retarded. I don't like speaking to either. I literally just said this is the most
fought on
convincing
all the other
argument that you guys have
arguments.
made so far. Because I don't find it convincing. Do you think it's possible I could just disagree with you, Jstlk?
I don't think it's possible when you don't have a factual basis to disagree on.
Okay. All right. Well, we obviously materially disagree on whether or not I have a factual basis to disagree on it.
You said you didn't. You said you guys have looked at way more of this. I don't really know anything about it.
That doesn't mean that my opinions that I have when you guys present me with the facts are inaccurate with the facts. You understand that, right?
It doesn't mean
I
that.
can
but-
recognize
but
you know
again,
more. So hold on.
I do
I can
fully
recognize.
believe, like
So
what I
I
said
can
before,
recognize. So hold on. Let me give you an
ahead.
example. I can recognize that Jackson Hinkle has more knowledge about foreign policy than me. But if we start having a conversation about foreign policy, I could disagree with him about the opinions on the facts that he
Lav?
presents to me.
There's no way
correct?
Lav comes later, right?
I agree
What?
with you, but
Okay,
that wasn't what
so-
you did. You said, isn't this like, you didn't disagree on facts. You
Say
basically
suck right
gave
now.
a way to inject subjectivity into the argument. You said, I'm going to treat Ethan like in
This
this
is a
case,
whole
he's not a
subjective
reasonable
argument.
actor.
This is literally the entirety of this conversation is subjective. You would never,
how
in your
long is
right
this?
mind, say you have the objectively correct take. Both of your guys' opinion is
Sure.
subjective, just like
I'm
mine
saying
is.
I'm saying that instead of actually using like
Wait, is that
solid
an
facts
hour?
to base my argument on, I'm going to base my argument on I think Ethan's like dumb, and so I'm going to excuse it in this specific case.
Well, wait.
No, you guys.
Look, I'm gonna back up a little bit. Irrelevant. Irrelevant.
Hold on. Let me just respond to that. So you guys are inferring off of Ethan Klein's intelligence, his motives, all of this past context. I'm just doing the same thing, but the only difference, at least as far as I am personally sitting from and aware of, that he's also quite dumb. And then I believe if you add that context, a lot of his actions are very explainable. I think a lot of his actions are very explainable if you take all of this
I
information.
don't
and you
think he's
also
very
apply
dumb.
that
I think
he's
he's
not
very like
dumb.
narcissistic, and it's makes him
Okay, I
predictable.
can provide you some other clips if you want to contest whether or not he's a dumb person.
Okay.
Sense that I got is Irrelevant. You came in and you made it clear that you're not up to date with as much as like Jstlk and I know. Fine. And I'm assuming that you're attempting to give Ethan the benefit of the doubt that maybe you were taking him at his word and that he is being genuine when he says his motivation for this is copyright as well as the trying to settle these personal vendettas with these people. But in trying to do that, I think that you had to, since you don't have a lot of information to go off of by your own admission, you started coming up with scenarios and potential motives for him that are just highly implausible to me. Like, are they possible? Could they technically be true? Yes, but I think based off of what Jstlk and I...
His obese Pisco wannabe shit doesn't work. Dude, Jstlk is like if Pisco ate like 5 more enchiladas a day, okay? Okay, stop. Oh, Lord, okay.
Wanting to extend charity and good faith to Ethan, as opposed to like, no, I have other actions that he's taken that undermine it. Or you would say like, well, if that was really his motive, wouldn't he have done this? Like, you'd create another scenario that like, if that were truly his motive, he would have needed to have done XYZ thing.
I'm actually
That's how that works. So let's say I claim, Straighterade, that you want to kill all men, right? That's my claim. You want to kill all of them, okay? Sure. And my evidence for saying that you don't want to, let's say I'm opposing that. You haven't killed any men, as far as I'm aware. Maybe you can break some news here. Is that not an argument to have? Like, well, if your motive was to do this, well, you're pretty shit at it. You're pretty dog shit at that. And that's a part of the argument for like, why didn't he go after Mike from PA? Why didn't he go after some of these other people?
The argument isn't
he's pretty
that he
dog
wants
shit
to
at going
shut
after
down all criticism. It's that he wants to chill criticism. And so picking a couple
so
people
he
to shoot in the
chilled
head when they say
specific
certain
people
opinions is enough to chill criticism usually.
So he's wanted to chill these specific people, but didn't want to chill one of the big like actors that a lot of people hate. I would say that
I just have to
I would
walk
say
through
if you were
this
going to go
real quick,
after,
okay?
hold on,
Sorry.
no.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just gonna, because you just didn't listen to what I said, or you just kept going on something totally unrelated. So what I said was he wants to chill criticism. That's perfectly fine. He wants to chill criticism of him. He picked 3 specific critics and tried to destroy them financially, right? Like, he obviously was willing to destroy them financially unless they're willing to humiliate themselves for going after him. Say Ethan Klein is a very big penis, okay? So without that, he's going to financially destroy them. That is what he's saying. So the precedent he's setting is, if you criticize me, I might come down on you super hard, okay? It's not, he wants to kill all critics, because that is not even feasible, right? And obviously, he wants to avoid blowback too, right? There's a sub-motive of wanting to avoid blowback for these things. So he goes after the least supportable people, the most hateable people, who are his critics. He wants to silence that, right? He even threatens a couple other people who are sort of adjacent to them, makes it very clear what his motive is, and then that's it. So he doesn't have to go after everybody. He wants to set a precedent that, hey, if you're critiquing me, I feel like you're going over the line, I will sue you.
Okay, cool. So what was I going to say?
Or you could respond to it too.
Also, on your metaphor, I feel like
I'm sorry,
more
hold on.
apt.
I want
We have gone full 360, okay? No, not 360, 720, okay? Full circle once again. Because do you know what's going to be said again? What's going to be said again? Ahrelevant is just going to make the same argument and say, no, that is not true, because he has only sued the people who have stated that they have malicious intent. He didn't sue everybody who has criticized them. He has only sued the people who has stated on stream that they had malicious intent, right? That is what Ahrelevant is going to make. And then Ahrelevant is also going to make the argument that I think that, fuck, I forgot the point. Okay, I think that's the main point.
to respond to that. What was I going to say? You cut me off because you said you knew what I was going to say. What was I going to say?
Oh, you were just going the wrong direction. You did the kill all men thing. So I'm saying that's not even the point.
No, that wasn't what I was going to say. Can you tell me what I was going to say when you cut me off?
Like, if you want to shoot dissidents in a authoritarian regime, right? You want to kill dissidents. You don't have to kill every single dissident. You can kill a couple, and then suddenly the dissident behavior, the dissident rhetoric suddenly mutes, right? Because
that's not what I was going to say.
No, I know that's not what you're going to say.
Do you want to admit that you didn't know what I was going to say?
I just heard you respond to Straighterade about killing all men, and I was like, oh, I need to specify what I was saying because we're not on the right track.
Okay, so when you interrupted me and you said you knew what I was going to say, you didn't know what I was going to say because I was going to bring up a separate point.
If I said I knew what you're going to say, I meant I think I know what direction you're going in, and I want to make sure you understand my opinion because you didn't understand my opinion when you responded to it 5 minutes ago.
Okay, I believe I understood your opinion, but I understand that you disagree with that.
So then I have to ask you now, why did you say if you wanted to kill all men, you stop before you kill all men? Why did you say that thing that is totally irrelevant to the example?
What is Jstlk?
Because Straighterade a second ago brought up the fact that she didn't think it was relevant. She thought it was irrelevant for me to bring up hypotheticals that are tangential, like, hey, I have X, Y, Z objective. Well, if you have X and Y and Z objective, why didn't you do, A, B, and C? She said that she didn't think think that that was
They're
relevant.
not that they're
criticism.
Not that they're relevant, that they're speculative. And because they're speculative, that just means that you're arguing from conjecture because you don't have evidence to base those inferences off of. You're just coming up with plausible scenarios.
No, this is so.
I mean, they could be relevant, plausible scenarios, but
doing the Candace
what she
Owens
just
right now.
said. So then that specifically was what I was responding to. So I was not responding to you, Jstlk. I was responding to her. So you understand, I wasn't misunderstanding you. I was at worst misunderstanding her.
Okay. You
Okay.
didn't
so,
think that applied
I don't
to what
think I was
saying?
misunderstanding her.
Because you were saying why
No,
did
I
you
was
stop at just
literally
these people?
directly
Why didn't you
responding
shoot
to
Sean
her.
Black?
I was
This is something else
directly
you were
I was
saying.
directly responding to her because she brought up
All
a
right.
point about the reason why I went on to talk about Mike from PA.
Okay.
Okay. So
So then you agree he doesn't have to sue Mike from PA then? Then the whole thing
No,
works?
I think that is
Our
a pro-
entire
I-
The real question is, why does Jstlk sound like Kermit the
thesis
Frog?
that
works
is
if he
a-
doesn't sue Mike from PA.
I think that is a problem with your thesis because Mike from PA is a very hateable guy. I think he's a very hateable guy. Definitely
Does not get anywhere near the hate of these
he's-
three people. Especially
I'm
not on
pretty
this
sure he's
topic.
hated. I feel pretty confident he's hated more than Casey Tron. I feel pretty confident about that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so between I
also
feel
be
like
that
if you
he's
were gonna sue-
wealthier. Mike, out of
he
all of
doesn't
them,
have
Mike
money
is a
to
bigger
go through a
creator.
lawsuit too. That is true.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that conjecture and shouldn't be allowed?
No.
The
Conjecture
fact
is
that
when
he's
you.
wealthier than Casey Tron? No, he is like objectively way wealthier than Casey.
No, is it conjecture that that is a reason for why he didn't sue her or sue him?
I mean, it
It's
fits a
speculative,
pattern,
but it's
so it's like,
not.
yeah,
It's not
speculative.
conjecture. Conjecture
Okay,
is
so-
when it's
so
like
it's
based off
based
of
on like the
nothing.
facts as they stand. Like I didn't say you have no basis
The facts.
to make
What
the Mike
facts
from PA
is that
question. I
based
said it's
off
like
of?
not
What
relevant
fact
to
is
my
that based
example.
off
That he didn't sue the more wealthy people who reacted to it, even people who were
Okay,
like
and then-
significantly critical of him.
And then the fact that mine is what is the fact that my thing is based off of?
What is the fact?
One
that
of you
your
guys
thing
has
is
to be
based
able
off
to
of?
tell me this if you were arguing a good
that
faith.
you think that he is more hated than somebody on that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is mine conjecture but yours isn't?
I didn't say yours was conjecture. I said earlier in the conversation you were doing conjecture. I don't know.
Okay,
I, don't
I
know
was,
what
I
Straighterade
was
is saying
talking about
here.
Straighterade.
No, I said earlier in the conversation
does
you were
conjecture
arguing
even
from
mean?
conjecture because you came in and said you don't have like a really good working knowledge or
Wait, like does conjecture mean assumption? Like assumption based off of nothingness?
specifics about this, but based
No, I
off
just
what you'd
recognized you
heard
guys had
and some
more.
other things that. Oh, okay. Then I misunderstood what you had said when you first came in. Then.
Okay, no, I recognize that you guys have a lot more knowledge on this. Not that I have literally nothing to work off. And even if I did have absolutely nothing to work off, you would have to contend with me saying that something that is a fact is not a fact. I haven't
Yeah, but
contended whether or not something is a fact. You could contend with my conclusions based off of the facts, but I feel like I'm just.
Wait,
you
but
guys are
what
just
fact
saying,
did you bring
guys
up
came
that
into
we didn't
this-
contend with?
I'm not. My argument isn't that you didn't contend.
The motivation? Oh, it's just speculation. Okay,
any
that's just
facts
speculation.
That I brought
okay,
up. My
okay.
argument
All right.
is that you guys are saying because I didn't
still-
come in
I still-
here
yeah,
with
okay,
as
that's
many
speculation,
quote, unquote, like
speculation.
facts
Yeah.
about all of this different
Actually,
thing
don't know. No, conjecture is
like
speculation.
I can't even be
Yeah,
a part
okay, I
of the
get it now.
conversation. If that was your
It's
guys'
like you have
position,
really
then
strong
I shouldn't even be
opinions that
talking
were
about
based
this.
on like
To-
conjecture.
hold
of
on,
you
to
wanting
bring
find
it
Ethan
back,
innocent.
to bring it
Like,
back,
that's-
to
I
bring
agree
it back
with,
to what you said.
I agree with Straighterade on that.
Okay, so to bring it back to what Jstlk said earlier, when he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't really care for your opinion because you didn't come in here with, or you felt
I don't
like I
care for
didn't
your
come in here with."
opinion on what arguments are persuasive or not when you haven't really looked into it. I felt like it was
Okay, so
condescending,
then
and
why
so
are
I
we
just
even
was-
speaking? Give me a reason to have this conversation.
I just when you stopped and were like, "This is finally an actually good argument from you," and I'm like, "Well, you don't know the facts of any of this, so I really don't care." to
Okay,
hear
so
that from
you didn't answer my question.
I didn't say I didn't
Why
care
am
to
I
have any
even
conversation
speaking
with
to
you. I said I didn't care to have like your opinion on how all these things stack up when you
the
haven't
fuck?
looked into it. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like, I'll
so
have the
then why
conversation
even
with
have
you,
the
But when
I
you
was
tell me,
clear
I
and
actually don't think
transparent
anything
about
you've said
this.
is smart. It's like, well,
I never said
know
I
what to tell
didn't
you.
think anything that you said was smart. Is that the
or
implication
effective
you
or
feel
a
like
good
from
argument.
that?
So I
Wait,
feel
but
like
no,
I
but
base my
Ahrelevant, you
opinions
came in
on
here and you said you wanted to provide pushback to what we're saying because of XYZ reasons, XYZ being
did
the
not
arguments
say
that you
that.
laid out. We didn't find them convincing, and then that's why we spoke to you.
Yikes.
Because I did want to hear
I
you
don't
out,
think-
and
I
I did
don't-
hear
I
you
don't
out,
think
and I
I
didn't
said
think they
that.
were convincing, but that doesn't mean that I don't think you're worth speaking to. It just means we disagreed.
No, he said explicitly, why should I listen to you when you're talking about a situation that you've admitted you didn't look into?
Yeah, but he says that
hopped
after
into
2
this call.
hours, practically.
I literally just meant that about the sentence where it's like, oh, this
That
is
would be
finally a good
consistent.
argument you guys are making. I was like, okay, I
I'm
felt like
getting my
that
ass
was
whooped.
condescension. I just want to point out that I'm person
Okay,
who's
well, I
actually
didn't
looked at
intend
this
for it
stuff.
that way.
Yeah. Well, I was literally just going like, I don't want to hear that. That was all I was saying. Was that comment? I was like, okay, I don't care about that.
Okay. Well,
I didn't want to hear it from you at all in
I
the
apologize
conversation.
if it came off
Ahrel's only fault in this wasting time is that it's good faith. Well, you can't teach a retarded horse what water is, okay?
in a condescending manner. That wasn't my intention. My intention was to communicate that was a good line of dialogue, and I wanted to explore that for the purposes of, trying to understand your
After all, right? Isn't Ahrelevant like 35 or
guys'
something?
position better.
Okay. Wait. Yay, we're all friends now. Yay.
Wait, he's not Ahrelevant, right? No, sorry, he's not like 35, right? Do you feel Straighterade is ever good faith? Yeah, I think Straighterade is good faith in a lot of the interactions that she is in. Unironically, but it's just that she's just wrong. Like, you can be good faith and believe in stupid ideas and still be a backstabber. Yeah. Nah. Okay.
We're all friends. We're all friends. It's all fine. Back to the thing, really quick. I do want to say, you asked earlier, why did he go after these people then? And I totally forgot. Denims had threatened to sue him for defamation because of statements that he made related to her, for like saying that she
Is it your role? What do you mean
was
role?
responsible for the CPS
Do you have a
call,
bridge with
or-
Brel? I DM Brel like sometimes, but like very, very seldomly, and it's usually after debating Jstlk. So no, I don't have a bridge. I don't think so. I wouldn't consider that's a bridge.
heavily implying and suggesting that. And
The way she argues. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry. I think, I do think Straighterade is bad faith. Okay, never mind. No, I thought of a good example that would demonstrate that she is bad faith. Okay, never mind. Because I just thought of the fact that she openly frames Ethan Klein's motivations for pursuing the lawsuit like through her lenses in that specific manner, and
ended up retracting that statement, and she dropped the lawsuit. But before that, he had gotten her and Frogan banned for 30 days for the stuff related to the what was dubbed the Hummusgate incident at TwitchCon. Do you remember this? Where they did the Arab tier list. So there's the motivations for launching these lawsuits against Frogan and Denims in particular. What motivated him to go after Caseytron, other than her having poor social standing and being impoverished, I think it really just comes down to that.
Okay. And you believe that's a particularly strong enough case for making your argument that he is doing this out of spite, even though definitely the history is more there for Mike from PA between Ethan and Mike from PA in comparison to Ethan and Caseytron prior to this. The history is way more there for Mike.
I'm not saying that's the strongest argument for that. I'm only responding to your question earlier that I didn't have a satisfying answer to, as to why did he go after these particular individuals? And I said, I don't know, but then I thought about it more and I remembered that those could be potential motives.
Okay.
Also, it wasn't the only argument that I made.
Caseytron's poor? I don't think
2 hours into this conversation.
Maybe poor between the whitest people on planet Earth, maybe.
And everything else that
I don't know.
Every other argument I've made as to why I think it's highly implausible that the copyright thing is really what's motivating him is also part of the reason that goes into that.
Okay. Sure. All right. Well, I feel like the vibes have crashed and it's been going on long enough.
No. What was the point you said was good? And go ahead and keep going down that argument.
It was just the Shonda Black thing about him backing out and then coming back in and then backing out. And I was unclear about the timeline.
Oh.
Because I think that's one of the most, because if your guys' argument is that he doesn't care about the substance of whether or not these people committed any copyright infringement, having the example of Shonda Black, him saying that he's going to sue Shonda Black, but then retracting his suit because of public pressure, or and saying that, well, I would retract it if these other people made comments that are totally secondary or tertiary to the any principle of the case. I believe you said something like apologize for their misogyny or something like that. I could see that potentially being a joke from him. However, I feel like to make an argument that was all a joke and a gag, I would either need significant context from a video that shows that when he said this or did this, it was incredibly funny, haha, laugh. No, very obviously a joke, or that I would need to make the argument that Jstlk, it sounded thought I was making earlier, that he is so incredibly helplessly retarded he needs a guardian, which I'm not going to make either without more evidence. So I would feel like this would be a very convincing one if I had the timeline of all this breaking down.
Wait, why is Shonda Black relevant in this context again? I'm a little bit confused.
Stuff like that.
I thought Jstlk was saying that based off of the way you've described Ethan, that by how much you were underscoring how dumb and retarded he was, that by that point that must be how you view him.
Okay, I don't too much booba.
Not that he was saying that your argument was literally that he's so fucking dumb that he literally needs a caretaker and to wear a helmet 24/7.
Basically,
I'm pretty sure that was his argument.
To have a reasonable conversation because we're going to treat Ethan Klein like he's retarded whenever we want with like no particular criteria. And
yeah,
it's like
that was what I believed his argument was, that it's not.
But like at that, like realistically, if you're just gonna make that argument and not give like, it's like you're like, well, I can show you he's dumb, and it's like, okay, but then we.
By the way, I don't want anybody ever to think of me as somebody who is bad faith ever. Okay, I'm sorry. You're not allowed to do this. Okay, you're not allowed to think of me as bad faith ever. Period. Okay. Why? Because the fact that I have said that I think I agree more with Jstlk and explained their positions and explained Kuihman's position and sided with them more than, the fact that I am like their number one hater, okay, but I'm willing to give that ground away, like if I'm pointing out good arguments, right? I don't want anyone to say that I'm ever bad faith ever, okay?
You can't really argue about anything he's doing because you could just...
Or that I suck Destiny's dick nonstop.
Say it's because he's dumb.
It's not true, like, because that would require me to believe he's infinitely dumb. And then I can explain all of these things and if he was infinitely dumb, then I would...
What is the agreement with them? When they were talking about proving a positive claim, and you would need to give some indication of at least some degree of evidence in order to say, yeah, like this has probably happened.
Just make the argument that it's all emotional.
Ahrelevant was making the argument, oh, well, the absence of evidence isn't the evidence of absence.
But this doesn't really explain to me why, after speaking to a lawyer, he still made the statements that he did.
I understand you. I understand. We just went through 2 hours of conversation. I hope you can understand that I understand that why you would say that. And I hope you can understand why I would say the opposite.
I'm so confused.
We just had 2 hours of conversation.
I actually don't know why. So hypothetically, if a lawyer tells him the opposite of what he said, and then he still goes public and says the opposite of what the lawyer said, can that be excused because of stupidity, or is that just maliciousness, like maliciously lying?
Wait, what are you talking about saying the opposite?
Specifically with regards to suing people and trying to bring in stated malicious intent as a reason, as like a factor of is a factor that's pertinent to the case.
I mean, that's just heuristic. I think that you're wrong if there is no indication of X event happening, but you still make the claim that how do you know that X event has not happened, right? Even though I don't think, no, hold on. I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm confused now. Never mind. Okay, I'm clueless.
Which statement are we referencing that
I don't know. Like, I would need a chart. I would need a chart to like draw it out. I'm not ready to make one of these autistic charts yet, dude. I'm not. It's too late for that.
So for me specifically,
I don't have time for this. No, actually, fuck it. You know what? I'm gonna do? Ahrelevant is ending this soon, right? Hold on. When does Ahrelevant leave? 6 hours? Oh, there's 14 minutes left. Yeah. You know what? I have time. I have time to make that chart.
From him
okay.
The chronology here.
Fuck it. Okay. I'll make the
Lawyer
thing.
tells
wants to chill people
that he
who
is
are stealing
unaware
things
of.
maliciously. Just
I'll make the thing. I'll make the thing.
Look, we're saying he wants to set a precedent against people who are stealing things maliciously, stated malicious, that they'll state it's malicious because he explicitly says XQC is good. The exact bad criteria he gave before, that's actually okay. I don't want to chill that, he said, but I do want to go after Denim's, Casey Tron, and this person. So that, by implication, is specifically the stated malicious intent. That's who he wants to go after. But I do believe a lawyer would have told him that you literally can't, that's not legally relevant to copyright protections. Like that stated intent, it will just come down to a dispassionate analysis of facts.
Yes, and if he's trying to get them to settle or do something like that to concede for fear of losing the lawsuit, wouldn't that work?
Oh, so you think he's lying because he's not dumb, because he's smart, and he wants them to like concede because he's...
No, it's not that he's lying. He does want to prevent the malicious stuff from going down. He just believes he'll prevent it by having these people like concede. They're going to give in and they're going to cut out or stop it.
Okay.
What's wrong with that theory?
I guess just that you're basically going into a lawsuit and going to risk all the downsides in terms of what that would happen. So he says he doesn't want to chill broader commentary, he wants to protect them, but he can't protect them if he sets a precedent against the exact kind of commentary that XQC and Asmongold were doing. And I believe a lawyer would have told him that too, that if we go to court, it will actually undermine the exact things you said here, that you want to go ahead and protect these kinds of reactions.
The way these people argue is very convoluted. Yeah. They do this on purpose, by the way.
But it will do the opposite. I believe a lawyer would have told him that before he published the video. But he published the video anyway with that exact line.
Trying to confuse their opponents is like their number one debate strategy too. Or trying to be hyper specific or hyper pedantic about things in order to weasel their way out of arguments, yes.
And coward who didn't want to get criticized for it.
I'm not sure how a lawyer would explain the line of how much of a reaction would be.
I know, what can you do?
Genuinely, my best faith analysis. Imagine a lawyer would say, we can't guarantee how much of a reaction that this precedent would set. We can't guarantee how much of it would. But one thing we can be certain about is that it's not going to be on the line of malicious intent. That doesn't seem to be substantiated anywhere in the law. However, the amount of reaction that anybody can do to a given piece of content and have it be fair use, that is going to be up in the air. And I could definitely see Ethan Klein just going like, fuck it, we'll just do it. They're probably going to give up anyway because they're fucking losers and they're broke.
Just to be clear, anybody with 2 working brain cells can tell that Denims did more work reacting than XQC did. So when Ethan says he doesn't want to go after XQC or chill XQC, but sues Denims, he's doing the opposite of what he says, is he's a lying cuck loser.
Okay, well, hold on. We can go to a separate argument, but you asked me for an argument that fits the legal, right? The legal precedent and like whether, how could he do this? How can these be his motives? But him simultaneously put up this lawsuit. And I gave you an example. All of that fits. He would be able to push this forward legally if he thought there was very little chance that they were all going to go through with the lawsuit, and or that his lawyer tells him, hey, we're not really sure how much of a reaction or fair use these people would be able to get away with under the system. But probably, but there's no legal precedent for malicious intent.
Making a crazy assumption that he would have like checked his parts of his script with the lawyer. So he said, I don't want to chill XQC, but XQC explicitly did a less transformative reaction that Ethan Klein, that included all of the elements Ethan Klein said proved that he intentfully steals views, and Ethan Klein didn't sue him and said he didn't want to chill XQC's reaction. Okay.
I don't know why he would do that. Why would he share XQC's stream with his lawyer?
He didn't share. I don't know if he shared XQC stream with his lawyer explicitly. He would have said, this is what this guy did. But I do know that he's aware of XQC stream, that he looked at it and is aware that XQC is doing a lazy reaction.
Oh, his lawyer is?
Ethan is.
Oh, well, yeah. No, you see, this is
So
under the premise that you believe Ethan approached his lawyer.
I know
about
it's shocking, but even Ethan is intelligent enough to understand that XQC is at a lower bar than Denims is.
Right?
I
think for the fair use, he could probably recognize that, sure. But for the malicious part that he thinks is the really important part that he wants to snuff out, like no. But didn't
you just say that you think his lawyer published?
It was an old Soviet tactic, nicknamed the fire hose of disinformation. You put so much shit out so people come to the conclusion nothing is true. Just poisoning the well, right?
For the maliciousness part wouldn't actually.
No, I don't believe he talked to his lawyer. I don't see. Where's the evidence that what are you using to come to the conclusion he spoke to his lawyer specifically about not chilling XQC's speech or reactions?
He said publicly that is his intent, is to not chill XQC's reaction.
No. I'm talking with his lawyer because what I think is most probable is he filed
Susie and he made content around the lawsuit. So I think it's fair to assume, based on those 2 facts, that he probably talked to his lawyer about the content he was going to put out, so as to not fuck himself.
About XQC's content?
I assume he would have basically taken the script to him and gotten the lawyer to clear the script, so he didn't fuck himself in his lawsuit.
XQC's content? I feel like that's a bit of a jump.
Anything referenced in that script probably would have been reviewed by the lawyer, so that he didn't fuck himself in his lawsuit. Do you think that's an insane thing to suggest?
I think it would be ridiculous sorry, not ridiculous. I just would find it. I mean, maybe you have a piece of information I don't. I think the most probable and likely solution or idea is that he went to his lawyer, said, I don't like that these people are just maliciously making shit up about me, and I did all this copyright shit. Let's go at these people. His lawyer went like, well, you can, like, malicious quote unquote lies has nothing to do with this copyright and fair use infringement. And then his lawyer said, but we can look at the fair use stuff if you want to do the fair use stuff. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Just make it stick.
There's a lawyer in chat right now. His name is potentially criminal, and he says he believes that the lawyer
potentially criminal. Right. This is another fucking local lawyer, okay? Another fucking local lawyer.
Would like to know about things Denims might bring up as a defense. So things like, hey, you're not suing these other people. Hey, you said this was okay.
Bro, potentially criminal is so fat that he has to go widescreen for his fucking cam when he streams or makes videos, just so then it could fit his entire body.
Over here, this XQC guy, like you said, this was okay. You explicitly said you don't want to chill that. So now I have to compare that to the people you're suing. You think that's reasonable?
That could be. I don't see any evidence for that. I don't even see him talking
about it. Are they all fat?
I don't see anything.
They're not. They're just all losers.
I don't know where you're getting the idea that he definitely did this.
I don't see XQC mentioned in the lawsuit. But so my thoughts are, you're going to file a lawsuit. You're going to do content about the lawsuit. You probably give the script to the lawyer to clear, right? Did Ethan preface that his lawyers reviewed the nuke? It's not about the nuke, you boy skiing. It's about the video he did about the nuke. Hey, I'm suing these 3 content creators. I'm assuming that when he did this, I'm suing 3 content creators. He probably went to his lawyer and said, hey, I need you to clear this entire script so that I can publish it, so I don't fuck myself in my lawsuit.
Also in that video, Ethan also said he could sue XQC and get millions, but he never would because he doesn't want to chill him or the React community, even though he's been on the record saying that what XQC does is infringement.
I mean, to be fair, that is like, can we, like, I think it does chill. I think it does chill criticism of Ethan Klein, right? Like, I feel as though, personally speaking, that it would chill criticism towards Ethan Klein, because a lot of people, because they don't know any better, they would look at that and then just go like, well, he is just suing people. He is suing people who are criticizing him. So therefore, he's going to come after me, right? Like, they don't know the context behind the snarkers. They don't know the context behind the anti-fans. Does it though? Yes. A little bit, right? You have to concede at least it's a little bit of chilling effect, right?
XQC is
okay, I'm sorry.
Definitely at least a little bit.
With that statement alone, wouldn't that imply that he is differentiating in his own mind, stealing content and maliciously stealing content in some kind of different way? Wouldn't that statement in and of itself show that in his mind?
Yeah, that was the precedent that he wanted to set. That was like the new fair use standard, and he wanted it to include this intentional malicious infringement,
Mm-hmm.
which is the illegal
Was throwing
precedent.
no, it
And so
seems like he
then
wanted
the
to throw a
only
legal
question you have to
a lawsuit
answer-
at them, and then if that they refused to settle, then the lawsuit would go through. But I'm pretty sure he was assuming these people would settle.
Now we're right at the end here, okay? And so the only thing you have to answer now is, if that's his primary thing, if that's his huge differentiating factor, why was he registering this and planning to sue these people before he ever knew that this was going to be a thing that happened?
Because he knew they'd be likely to steal the content, and because he believes that it's malicious and consistent,
In
and
the
he wants to
exact way,
stop
in the
it.
exact way that XQC does?
It's so he would make the argument that it is different, right? Even in the statement that Straighterade just said, he said he doesn't want to chill the React community. So he views that what these people are doing is distinctly different than the React community in his own statements.
Yeah, but he
Okay,
planned
but
this
he was
trap and
unaware of
registered
that
with the
when he
USCO
planned the trap and
before
registered.
they made any of these malicious statements about like siphoning revenue or whatever. So he couldn't have predicted that those content creators would make admissions like that.
I'm going to assume, I think it is fair to assume that he didn't.
Yes, they can. Yeah. No, he can assume that. He can assume that. I can't. No. Really. You don't think that they are so full of themselves to the point where they're not going to admit that they are doing this in order to make sure like no more views go to Ethan Klein on purpose, so that they're not giving Ethan Klein's videos specifically any attention on YouTube? You really think that they're not willing to say something like that? Because I'll bet money 100% that Ethan Klein is anticipating somebody to make that admission, at least one person to make that admission, so that he can file a lawsuit. It's a trap. Yeah, but it's a reasonable guess, right? It's a gamble. That's what it is.
Think that is the only thing that made these people malicious content thieves, that those statements just emphasized to the general public and also potentially to a court that these people are malicious content thieves.
Yeah, I don't think this mattered at all.
I'm gonna
I actually
assume-
think, I actually think he had a totally different predicate for this, which
no, I'm
is
sorry.
they said he has a small penis.
Do you guys think that Ethan Klein believed that they were malicious content thieves before they said those words?
With Denims, I don't know if he thought that. I mean, not
Okay,
maybe with regards to like the news networks, but
Maybe
I
Casey
don't know if
John.
she's done that with his stuff.
I don't know about
With
Rogan
Casey,
and Denims.
absolutely.
That's correct.
And again, why would that matter if Denims did not maliciously siphon views?
What?
Why would that matter if Denims went on a different platform, did not compete with him on the same platform, and never even published the video herself to the same platform, right? Why would you argue she's maliciously siphoning views?
Why would Ethan argue that?
Yes. What is the evidence she's maliciously siphoning views? Do you know what the evidence is for that?
Well, I feel like his argument would probably just be by her Twitch stream alone, doing that. Her statements that nobody should like be following Ethan, he shouldn't have a platform and whatever, but still watching his content. That that by engaging in his content and interacting with it, while also simultaneously saying that he shouldn't have an audience and petitioning for him to be removed off of all these platforms, that she
Did she
is
petition for the
maliciously.
VP?
Or they create back channel. Technically, it's not a back channel if somebody like Rao Kittenhouse is like being the vessel for Jstlk's video delivery to YouTube.
Platforms?
Oh man.
So maybe you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. Have these people not been saying that Ethan Klein should be banned for a while for his like pro-Israeli genocidal rhetoric?
What did they say? What did
I'm
any
aware
of them
of that.
call for him to be banned?
I don't recall off the top of my head, but I feel pretty confident the idea that they have said that he's done TOS things under YouTube TOS in regards to his comments on Israel Palestine. Is that just totally inaccurate?
I've never seen any
never
clips like
seen
that.
it.
If they exist, I've never seen them.
All right, I can.
What I do know is that Ethan has gotten Frogan and Denims banned for 30 days out of who's gotten who banned between all of these people.
If they publish a video on unverified YouTube without is that not a back channel? I mean, it kind of is, but at the same time, it's like, what about all the DGG clippers who have channels of their own that is posting entire Destiny segments of the VODs, right? And these people are not directly associated with with Destiny, right? But at the same time, I believe that Rao Kittenhouse is acting under the orders of Jstlk. I think that is like, yeah, I think Rao Kittenhouse is acting under the orders of Jstlk, though. I think that is the big difference here. Yeah.
I mean, I know what Denim's arguments are. What Ethan's arguments are. His argument is that she read a chat and she said, so the chat said something like, "Oh, thank God you're streaming, so I don't have to give him a view." And she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to stream it, I guess, since he's dropping it today." Right?
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah, like that's
her
what he lays out the
only
lawsuits. That it's
beforehand.
like,
Yeah, the only
it's not
statement
just
beforehand.
about like weak commentary. It's that they made a calculated effort to siphon viewers away from him. But he couldn't have known that they were going to make admissions that he would later use against them, or that their reaction would be not compliant or infringing, or like not compliant with fair use or infringing when he was setting this all the way back in January.
From his perspective, he would absolutely believe that the reaction would not be fair use, because he believes that all of the reactions are not fair use, probably, if I had to guess.
Based on what? He had a conversation with a lawyer, so everything you say, I'm going to say is going to be mitigated by having this conversation with the lawyer.
Well, I'm assuming that we're talking about prior to, like, are you talking about when he first set the thing up?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I'm saying.
So you're telling me he spoke with the lawyer when he first set the.
Okay, I'm skipping to the end. I can't watch this anymore. Okay.
He just believed that they didn't react
stand
much.
with this.
And to be clear, he's not alone.
Why would he
There's a
register
lot
it with
of
the
people.
Library of Congress back in January?
Yeah,
Because he didn't believe that these people would react much to it. They would do their content thievery. Because Ethan, from my perspective at least, has had the opinion that Hassan and company have been significant perpetrators of the chair reacts, and that they have a specific hate boner for Ethan. So you have the malicious reacting of the chair reacts that come together with the hating him. So it is the reacting and then the malicious part with how they specifically interact with his community. And then he got mad, and then
Watch that he's sneaking in.
I don't feel like I'm speaking Chinese here.
I guess I just don't see that as responsive to like why he would register it all the way back in January if he wasn't calculating.
No, it's that he knew that they were going to react to it, and if they reacted to it, he knew that they weren't going to be substantive because he believed that they weren't substantive. But in your mind, your contending hypothetical that you believe is more plausible is what?
It was.
I'm enjoying brain rot way more than the news lately. There has been two. If you enjoy the brain rot, you should donate. Show your appreciation for brain rot content. Okay, it's good encouragement for more brain rot content in the future. Consider donating.
He was going after Hassan.
He was going after Hassan. He was trying to lay a trap for Hassan, and then he got these other people, and it didn't work out.
No, he sets his sights on them after Hassan refuses to react to the nuke, and then when he eventually does,
with your
it's so long that
wallet.
you couldn't possibly sue him for copyright infringement when it's that long, and he's already begged him to react to it multiple times, and basically issued a license to Hassan to do that.
Okay, if he sued Hassan, do you believe that would have been in good faith?
No.
Why not?
For the existing feud that the two of them have had for close to 2 years now.
Just because they have a feud doesn't mean the lawsuit would be not in good faith.
But you just asked me what my reason would be.
Yes, I'm asking you what. Okay, so if we are assuming your hypothetical, he laid out this trap specifically so Hassan would chair react to the nuke.
Not chair react is infringe, which is probably not hard to do. Like 90% of what 92, if not 100% of what goes on Twitch, on Kick, on YouTube streaming, as far as reaction goes, probably constitutes infringement if it were to actually be adjudicated in a court of law.
Okay, what is malicious about him doing that?
About using the courts, about launching a copyright lawsuit that is not actually about infringement, but is about settling personal scores. What's not malicious about that?
No,
it's a misuse of the courts.
He genuinely believes that it is infringement, and I think it could be argued that I know multiple different.
Well, it is okay. Hold on. I agree. It is malicious. Okay, I agree. It is malicious. Now, is it right to be malicious? I think that the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes. I concede that it is malicious. I concede that it is malicious, and I can see that it is malicious.
$.
Thank you so much for the 2 Australian. Okay. Yeah, I do concede that it is indeed malicious. But it is rightfully so malicious. If you kill the Russians in Ukrainian war, you can argue that it is malicious to kill. But is it not just? Is it not just to kill in a war in such a malicious manner? Yes, indeed, it is.
Hassan reactions would be considered copyright infringement in any moral system.
I don't know why I'm talking about.
I'm just talking about from his perspective.
But Ethan is intimately familiar with what constitutes transformation and fair use because of his previous lawsuits against other creators, with other creators, where he had to defend his own work in a court of law as to why it still constitutes transformation and fair use. And one of the 4-point tests for that is, did it serve as like a market replacement?
Yeah, and I think he could absolutely argue in court whether or not these served as a market replacement. And I'm not sure how that would go. And moreover, I know, or I feel very confident, given even all of these different statements of facts, I feel very confident that Ethan Klein could believe that he.
Oh, ergonomic chair. I have seen you shitting on me on my second channel. Because of that, I am now going to ban you from chat. Just because you are banned from my second channel does not mean you are not banned on my main channel. Goodbye.
Because that's all I have to do is just say, well, could Ethan Klein reasonably believe this stuff, given who he is as a person? My answer is going to be absolutely.
Don't beat.
Chatty Nickel, thank you for the 6 gifted subs. Let's fucking go. Huge 6 gifted.
I feel like we're beating a dead horse.
Where's my 6 gift? What the fuck?
Yeah, so it was good talking with you guys. All right.
Much love. Cool talking. Yeah, we'll see you around.
Bye.
Thanks for coming on.
Bye.
Yikes.
We'll see. I think potentially Criminal was also thinking about coming on.
Oh, no, please don't. He's gonna, bro, dude, potentially Criminal. He's so fat, he's gonna take up all the bandwidth, dude. Okay, all right, chill. Okay, we're done. All right, cool, awesome.